22nd. This is the No Balls podcast. Um, we're gonna be doing our predictions episode, which should be pretty sick. Working on getting uh, Sheldon to join the stream. We're not quite sure how we're doing this just yet, but I see he joined and should be able to invite him. Uh, all right. First time here on playback, so we're still working through things. Pretty excited though. NBA season is starting tomorrow. We have not worked any of that into our predictions, which obviously since it hasn't started yet. But yeah, um, we're quite excited. I think if this goes well, I should be potentially live reacting to the stream tomorrow, or to the game tomorrow. KC Thunder at least. Lakers Warriors pretty late at night. We'll just have to see what we do there. But yeah, should be pretty good. Uh, yeah, we're still working through this. Oh gosh, Phil said he clicked on the invite link and his screen froze. Well, it says he's on the stage. Oh, I can see him. Hold up. Let's see. All right. We're almost there, I think. I'll quickly go look at YouTube to see what this is looking like on the YouTube side of things. Um, right. All right. All right. Well, it is showing me. I don't know if it got me speaking or not. Okay. Um, all right. So we're working. Um, okay. Hearing myself. This is crazy. Um, Alex, doesn't make me artist. All right. Should be good now. Was hearing myself twice. No longer am hearing myself twice. Um, Possibility Sheldon has now joined. Um, Go to the stage settings. Create search. Geez, how do I? All right, here's how I can add. Okay, stage invite no users online. Right. Okay. Um, this has got to be crazy for if anybody is somehow randomly joined. Um, well, a little bit excited for this upcoming NBA season. We should be getting started hopefully soon. This is a little bit crazy, but yeah, I'm trying not to get too far into team predictions because obviously that's what we're going to do as soon as Sheldon gets here. But yeah, I think there were a ton of offseason moves made. There's a lot of talk from Shams about how big of an offseason we were going to have, and a little bit of it was exaggerated, but I still think this was an eventful off season. I think a lot of teams, for better or for worse, have definitely changed. Going into, maybe one team got slightly better, one team got slightly worse. There's obviously the big East injuries. Those are things that a lot of people, are indexing on. I think rightly so. And you'll probably see with uh, the predictions that we make that we are also taking into account the very it was already considered a weak East, but now it's probably even an even weaker East. So yeah, we're excited. I think this should be, um, last year we did this, decent. Like I thought we did a good episode last year, but I'm expecting this one to be a lot better. We did the two conferences separately last year, and we've merged them. I think a big part of that is we've gotten a little bit better at podcasting. We'll see how that goes. Really, a little frustrated with how this has started so far, though. 'Cause, there's no way to test here to start the stream. So technical difficulties will hopefully be out the way here really soon. I should be able to share. Yeah, I can share media too on here. Okay, yeah, this is awesome. Um, and then I can present. I can have it chill in here for now, just so there's other things for people to look at rather than me while I'm pandering and you know, uh, panicking to get Sheldon into the stream somehow. Um, says he's currently not here as well. We'll see how that works. um, yeah, I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, as a Knicks fan, I'll go ahead and talk about my Knicks fan perspective because I can always talk about that. Um, where we have real expectations this year. I think last year we had real expectations, but they were uh, hyperbolic. Large part of that due to the fans. We were hyping up. We got Carl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, who are very notable players. Except now, I think this year we've done some fine tuning to the roster. Usually, a bunch of teams usually take a year or two, or a year or two of fine tuning. Um, and yeah, I don't, that hasn't always, uh, you know, it hasn't always worked right away for new teams. Um, and yeah, I hoping that this is a year that there's a real substantive change um, on the year. Sheldon, it's showing that Sheldon is now in uh, the stage, but it's not showing him on my screen. I'm not really sure what's going on. I think he should be good though. Um, okay, that's me. Okay, I can see Sheldon. Unmute. Wait, can you hear? Oh, you can hear me, right? Yep. Okay, you said yep. I don't know. Can you see if I just saw the haircut too? I didn't. You're throwing emojis at me, I think. Um, I still can't. Can you see if your real mic is plugged in, or is the setting that the software is using? Okay, well, I just removed the spotlight, so I can at least see you now. Um, see if that's displaying on YouTube now. Um, I think that should be displaying on YouTube now. Let's go.
I don't
Oh,
know why.
I heard you. I heard you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. We finally made it.
Ooh. All right.
Let's go. 10 minutes of
Took a minute.
uh yeah, 10 minutes here, and we finally got it going, but we did get it going at the end of the day.
All that matters.
That is all that matters. We're here on playback. Of course. New software. Shout out to Riverside. It did what we needed it to do. But we've moved on. Doing it live, I felt like that was a good thing. I don't know if this ever got through, but tomorrow I should be doing live reaction to OKC versus Rockets. I don't know if I will be awake for Lakers Warriors the whole time, so I don't know. I don't know about that, but figured that was another option that going to playback would give us. Um, it also gives us more time in case we have technical issues like we just had. That would happen all the time on Riverside. But we're here, 2025, 26 NBA predictions. We've done all 30 teams. Warriors has not come out yet. That will come out in 2 days. Unfortunately, after the first Warriors game, but I figured if we were going to do this live, we would also. I would also post it on YouTube in full live. So here we are. Before we get started, you got any like blanket comments, storyline comments that you don't think we're going to cover in here that you want to
Maybe I'll
just quick
save those to
ones?
the end so I can see what we cover.
Yeah. Trivia. Did you by chance have NBA trivia
Uh,
ready for us?
I don't have it pulled up. I didn't. I in the mask of trying to get on, I forgot to grab some.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes perfect sense.
so that's on me. That's on me.
Let's see if I can dome trivia. Let's see if I can come up with one. Um, hmm. Who Okay, last season we had what consecutive different champion?
Okay. Um, was it the sixth?
Sixth. Okay, unfortunately I asked the question without knowing the answer. So we had uh Thunder, Celtics, Nuggets, then 2022
was the Warriors.
Warriors, yes,
Oh wait,
21.
I'm gonna go
Jeez.
9. I'm gonna go 9 years.
I know I can't remember 21, but Lakers was 22 or it was 2020, and then the Raptors were 2019, and then the Warriors were 2018. So it goes back 7 years.
I was close. One off.
7 years. Why can't I remember the 2021? Oh, it's the Bucks. Okay, yeah, small market teams. We don't remember small market teams. Th- Obviously, we cover small market teams, so I'm very hyperbolic in saying that. Uh, we'll move forward here to our predictions. Awards. Obvious place to start. This is where people make their money literally, and then predictions wise, I don't think people actually make their money off of predicting awards, but people make their money and then after that they're allowed to vote on awards. You have to make your money first is how it works. But uh getting started here, we're going to talk about the MVP. for this upcoming season. There's a lot of possible candidates. We'll do the awards first, and then we'll go through standings and contenders tier list, and we'll see how that goes. Um, but for MVP, what is your MVP favorite? You do the ladder throughout the course of the year. Going into the year, who is your favorite?
Yeah, it's got to be Wemby, man. He's looked so good in the preseason. He's an athletic freak, absolutely insane offensive stuff with the defensive stuff as well. And the work that he's put in the offseason with Hakeem has not only like elevated his footwork, but he's also elevated his strength, his shooting, his playmaking. I think we're going to see an incredible season from Wemby, as we saw he was on pace for one before he ended up having the blood clots. And I'm expecting an MVP and a defensive player of the year from him. So
Oh,
a little
that's
two
a
for me.
short list right there.
Yeah,
I don't know how short it is, but that's a short list. I had a good list of names. I would say you could call it a short list of names that you could pick for MVP. Wemby was certainly on there. I had a little bit of concerns about how good are the Spurs going to be this upcoming year. Um, and I really went, in the deep cut here for the MVP prediction. This is a very bold opinion. I'm going to go with this Nikola Jokic guy. I don't know if we've talked about him before, but I think it's the safe bet. He's, not coming off of winning it 3 years in a row before, and that was a huge, reason why he didn't win this past season, even though it was a very split decision by anybody talking about it. Pretty rationally, they would say Shea was obviously a good candidate, but I'm going to go with Jokic. I think the team's going to be better this year to where we'll talk about it when we're predicting the standings, but I think I really like the Nuggets this year. Jokic is going to be Jokic and put up great numbers. That's going to be my MVP for this season. Um, what were some other, not dark horses, but vote getters, guys who you think are going to be in the race for this year for
yeah.
MVP?
I mean, I think we're gonna see Luca is definitely gonna be one of those guys that maybe isn't gonna be a favorite to start the season with like the Shays and the Jokic's and even the Wembys, but I think Luca is definitely has a chance, especially with that Lakers squad, to with LeBron being out for a good part of the first half, being out through November, possibly even December. I think that Luka's going to have to step up big, and we already know he's capable of MVP basketball, MVP caliber basketball. And I think he has a legit chance, obviously, to win the MVP and carry this Lakers team for the first half.
Yeah, I mean, Luca's a very he's on a short list for basically everybody, and for good reason. He will consistently put up, 30 and 10. I would assume throughout a lot of the season. Um, I think the one concern I have, again, just like I had with Wemby, is how good are the Lakers going to be in the regular season, especially like you said with LeBron missing time. Of course, it's going to boost Luca's stats a little bit, especially throughout the first half of the season. And hey, like first half of the year, LeBron wasn't very good last season, quite frankly. Like he was still a fine player, but close to a sub all star level player last year in the first half, and then was an all NBA first team player for the second half of the year. Um, we'll just have to see on Luca. I think if the Lakers are good, Luca could possibly be the favorite. Um, I think another vote getter. Anthony Edwards is very safe in my opinion. And then if I had to go with any East player, I really struggled, but like Giannis, like there's no way the Bucks are that terrible, especially in uh, the situation that is this current Eastern Conference. And Giannis is going to put up 32 and 10 and like 7 assists and probably should be the first pick in fantasy basketball drafts. I'm not really sure how fantasy basketball drafts work, especially with league scorings. I'm not sure, but Giannis is going to put up some stats for sure. What do you think about just any East players?
Yeah, I would say Giannis as well. Maybe Cat again. I think Cat could possibly get some talks. I mean, he played out of his mind last season, but it's hard because Jalen Brunson, we talked about it a lot last year. Like he's the guy on that offense. He's the initiator, even though Cat does put up ridiculous numbers and is incredibly talented with the ball handling, the shooting, the passing, and the finishing at the rim as well. He's kind of, I guess, my dark horse East candidate. And then you could throw his teammate in there, Jalen Brunson as well. Jalen Brunson could have a really good year and be looking at that. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna get too crazy. I'll keep it at those
Yeah.
two.
I think uh, Towns is interesting. He did have a comment today about his role that he's not sure what that is going to be like. I don't know how much concern I would put into that, but we'll have to see. I kind of don't like the way that the Knicks have gone through the preseason a little bit, but if you go back and watch our predictions episode, like I said, I was all for Towns still playing center, and they're looking a little bit different. We'll see how the Knicks are this season. MIP, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year. We don't have to go over any of these, but if there is, and I guess Sixth Man of the Year should also definitely be on there. But if there's any of these that you want to talk about with a prediction or a stay away prediction, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. We can start at most improved player. I think Amen Thompson is probably gonna be my pick. I think he's like a pretty big favorite for that. But I mean, there's so much to love about him, and then you add the part that he's going to be playing point guard for this team, getting big starting minutes, and he is a really good squad around him. He's gonna be able to flourish. And I think the 3-point shot is we're going to see significant improvement this year, but also his incredible defense, athleticism, and rebounding. I think that he's still going to be a guy that can. I mean, he averaged 14 points per game last year. This is a guy that could get over 15 and close to 20. I think, like in that 17, 18 range. Despite having guys like KD and Sengun, Jabari Smith on the roster, I still think that he can be a major offensive player for them.
Yeah, as the OG Amen Thompson supporter, I love all of the love that Amen Thompson has been getting throughout the media. I think he's the favorite for the award, and I think for like very good reason. I kind of my answer to this was going to be Rocket. I think it's going to be him or Shengun. I think people are really going to realize how good him and Shengun possibly can be. I think they're going to get the boost of, oh my goodness, Jalen Green is not on this team anymore. Alperen Şengün is so good. What was happening these past 2 years? Why didn't he get the ball? And I think that Şengün like has a really good chance. The one concern about that pick though is typically these guys who were already like all-star level players don't get the award, but I think Şengün can take a huge step forward. A large part of that was last year he really struggled to like shoot layups, which was like an outlier low shooting season. Um, for Alperen Şengün last season, and I think that can bounce back really easily. I think with more volume, obviously without Jalen Green, and now Fred VanVleet is there, so they're going to need more of playmaking from Şengün. They're going to rely on that, as we've seen in the preseason. I think there's a really good opportunity for him to like literally just like he could average like 24, 11, and 6, and that is going to like really draw some eyes, especially if the Rockets are really really good, because then his fantasy points per game might be better than Kevin Durant's, right? And that's how most MVP voters decide how like who should be the MVP, who put up the most stats. um I like Şengün as a pick. Other anybody outside of those Rocket guys that really uh, like you think are real candidates?
Um, I think I think the only other ones I would probably go to are some guys from the East, but I think their team's not going to have a lot of success, and that's because of a player that got hurt, and that's either Nemhard or Benedict Mathurin. I think I can see both winning most improved player. Probably Benedict Mathurin has the stronger case, considering how good like Nemhard has been. Like you said, it typically when we see guys that already play at a high level, it's hard for them to get the award again. So I think Benedict Mathurin probably. We saw what he was able to do in the playoffs, and he's going to get an even bigger role now that Tyrese Halliburton's going to be out, and he's going to be starting which he came off the bench a couple of the times throughout the season. So having that solidified starter role, I think, gives him more of an opportunity to shoot the ball, also finish, and he played really good defense. So maybe even takes a leap there offensively.
Yeah, I think Nemhard's also a good call because we talked about in the Pacers episode, he played so well in the playoffs that it makes you forget that he was beat up all year and shot 29% from 3. I think if the three-point shooting can take a step forward, and with him, like, throughout the playoffs, he shot, like, damn near 40% from 3 on volume, on difficulty, and that's kind of been the trend throughout his career that his shot just elevates as he gains more responsibility. So I think there's some real validity to Andrew Nemhard, like being a real MVP candidate, or not MVP candidate, MIP candidate. There we go. MVP Nemhard would be quite crazy, but
That
yeah,
would be
we're not
insane.
predicting. Yeah, we're not predicting that one, guys. Um, I really like that as well. I can't really think of any other guys. I think Nemhard, Nemhard and Amen Thompson are the two of like the favorites for MIP. I'm up right now. I'm ecstatic. Those are my guys. I think we could potentially see like a huge step forward from Christian Brown after his extension. I think that's a possibility. And we're gonna go right back to the Rockets. Reed Shepard was pretty bad in his rookie year. He might get real playing time, and there's like real opportunity for him. So we'll throw that out there. Coach of the year, what do we have?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I don't know if this is gonna be a crazy pick, but I'm going with Quinn Snyder. I think he's gonna have this Hawks team playing at a high level, as you'll see in a couple of slides here. I'm sure where I have him ranked, but I think that now that this team like is finally building around Trae Young, Jalen Johnson's back. They have bench depth with the addition of Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You have Porzingis, although there's going to be a lot of questions with his health. I'm still confident in what Snyder's gonna be able to do, and I'm expecting a big season from Trae Young, and I think it all is gonna come down to what's gonna be happening on the scheme side of things. I think Quinn Snyder's the guy that can get it done, and Atlanta's just been like this close for a while now. And I think we're going to see we could possibly see a Hawks run where they were in the Eastern Conference Finals not too long ago.
Yeah, that's like very compelling, honestly. Usually you need to be a good team, and this is a little bit of a spoiler for who I think is going to be a good team. One of the better coaches in the league is Tyronn Lue, and I think there's a real chance this Clippers team could be pretty solid, despite all of the great things that have happened to them since the offseason basically ended for them. Um, he's a good coach. I don't think they're gonna give an award to Dagnall. I think there's some like a good chance that in a full first year as head coach, how live have I forgotten? Adelman, there we go. I think Adelman for the Nuggets could also become a very good candidate here because I think there's a real chance they're the 2 seed this season, and I don't think anybody's gonna wanna give Dagnall the coach of the year. They're the 1 seed, they're supposed to be the 1 seed. So I guess we've kinda spoiled that a little bit, but we'll talk about that. Rookie of the year, did we have anybody here other than Cooper Flagg as our favorite?
I mean, not really. I think going in this season, he is the favorite. It's hard to pick against them. Like you can say Dylan Harper, but like it's going to be really hard to be able to beat Flag because like yeah, because he's going to give you so much offensively and defensively, and if he does good enough, the media is going to love him. So I think that automatically is just going to solidify him as rookie of the year, like a lock, pretty much.
I have my one dark horse, and it is Walter Clayton Jr.
Mm.
Played 4 years in college. Utah's going to be like terrible. I think Will Hardy's really going to know how to use the movement shooter that Walter Clayton is. And I think that there's a real chance that like he starts 70 games for them this season and he'll put up like kind of some empty stats, but yeah, I could see it with Walter Clayton. Originally Trey Johnson was my guy because he's going to start for Washington and probably take a large percentage of their shots. But I think Utah can be a slightly more player friendly environment than Washington this upcoming season. especially for like a rookie guard. And Clayton's also 3 years older, so I like Clayton in that aspect. Um, we can move forward here, or if you have any sixth man of the year takes, I have one, and I'll go ahead and get it out the way. I know he's very high up there on odds, guys. Do not bet Jordan Clarkson to be sixth man of the year. He is going to be the third best bench player on his team, and the team has plenty of shot creation. I know he's second in odds. You are throwing your money away. Do not bet Jordan Clarkson for sixth man of the year. Um, you do you have any pick? My pick is Nas Reed.
Yeah,
He's the betting favorite, I think, for good reason. There's like kind of no avenue for him to start. A lot of the guys towards the top in odds were like Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons, because one of them's going to come off the bench, or like DeAndre Hunter is really high up on the list, and he's going to start at the very beginning of the season because Max Strus is hurt. So I really don't know. Like I can't really say those are good picks. I think Nas Reed, like, unless there's an injury to Randall or Gobert, he's probably just going to come off the bench for a large part of the year. And like, he does the empty stat scoring thing while still being impactful, scoring the ball, and he can space the floor. He's not terrible defensively. He's not like a fake good bench player like a lot of bench players actually are. I have a name that I'm going to bring up for one of the superlatives that I think will be the most impactful bench player. I don't think he's going to be award eligible, is why I'm not going to pick him. So, yeah, what do you got any other comments on Nas Reed or other candidates?
no, I agree. I think Nas Reed's gonna be a surefire pick here. Like he just got the contract extension. We saw what he was able to do last year, and I think that his game is just going to elevate. And I think that he's such a solid player off the bench, like you said. He's able to go in there and he's able to do things. I like the pick. I think he's going to put up a lot of good stats, like he usually does.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just the safe pick. Like none of the other odds guys are good guys to bet on, in my opinion, because they're just the notable names that everybody knows. We're going to go forward to our next exercise. It is not on here, but we are going to share a different screen, and here we are. Please confirm. Okay, it has not quite popped up yet, and has it popped up now? Yes. We have the NBA tier list here. So, I have made a contention tier list. After this, we will go through our standings. This will hopefully make it a little bit easier for us to explain our standings. We have the favorites tier, which is I expect this team to be in like one of the final four teams. Is what we're expecting out of these teams. Contenders, teams that we can realistically see having a chance to win a title. Maybe not a team that we think will, a team maybe we're just seeing them as a team who has a chance if the bracket breaks correctly for them. Not quite contenders. These are teams that are probably in the playoffs, maybe early play in that they're kind of real teams, like they're kind of real teams, but we don't really think they're a real playoff threat yet. Teams that are fighting for the play-in is obviously the play-in tier, and then the pathetic tier are, these are teams that are really trying to get Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, and Ichi Dabansa, who looked very awesome in his first BYU game. So that's the explanation there. Where do we want to start on this one? I think you're muted. I think so. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Let's start up top. We'll start with the favorites. We'll start with the favorites.
All right.
Start off strong.
I will pitch my first contender. Let me know if this is a hot take, all right?
Mm.
But I will be putting the Oklahoma City Thunder
Oh,
in
bold, bold,
the
bold.
favorites tier. Very simple. They're returning the whole team. They were not even healthy last year. They won 68 games. I think we'll leave it there. I think that's a perfectly fine pick. Now, I think the obvious next step here is establish what a contender is compared to a favorite. So we're not overlapping things. Who do you think is the embodiment of a contender in this year's NBA?
Magic.
Ooh, Orlando Magic. All right, throw the pitch to me.
Don't know. I don't know if they're like I can't say they're a lot because there's still a lot of things to figure out with this team, especially between the play between Paolo and Franz and how that's going to look. But we were talking about a team that was fourth ranked or top five ranked defensively last season, and the only thing that they were missing was shooting. And you were very injured last season. Not only were you missing your two like star forwards for a majority of the time, in Paul and Franz, you're missing a lot of your centers, one of your big backup centers in Mortis Wagner. But now you bring in Desmond Bain, who's an elite shooter and has been for multiple years and can put up 20 points per game. And you're getting Jalen Suggs back. So now you're really like you have an offense now, and you have the ability to shoot the three ball with the ability to attack the rim and attack the paint with Paolo and Franz and that elite defense. This is going to be a team that's going to be hard to score on, and they can beat you multiple ways offensively now. I think this is going to be one of the best Magic team since like when were the Magic good? Like McGrady, Shaq, like
Dwight.
Dwight. Okay, yeah. But even then, I don't think those teams made it as far as the Magic have a chance to this year, especially in the East.
They did make the finals, so I don't
Oh,
know if they're,
oh, okay, okay. Well then, I'm
you know,
mistaken. I'm mistaken. Again, was it? Who did they play? Would they play the Lakers?
Lakers. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So like we're saying they have a chance to potentially reach those heights.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't call them favorites though. I feel like that's a little too gracious. That's a little too much to call them a favorite, but I do think they're legit contenders.
all right. So I think we should add one more tier here. Now that I'm going through it. Um, row below, we're gonna add one more, and this is gonna be the dark horses. I think pretty obvious what it is. A team that we think could be pretty good. And things probably won't always look great for them, but things need to line up playoff time for them to be a sneaky contender. And we'll sort through it as we go. I guess I'll give a good example of a dark horse. I am going to go with the Golden State Warriors. This is my hot take team potentially. I think the three-man trio of Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Jimmy Butler is like the best synergy of a three-man trio that I've quite ever seen, and I think that will give them a great ceiling on offense. I think Draymond Green's defense is so awesome. This team will probably not be a great regular season team, but this is going to be like a dark horse. Nobody wants to see them in the first round type of team. That's who I would establish as a dark horse. Do you see them in this range?
I can see it come playoff time, like you said. Like they can like band together. Like we saw them go on runs. Like near the end of the season, we saw what they did to the Rockets. I don't know how great their regular season is going to be. Like I think they might be having a low seed just because of how good the West is. It's unfortunate, but I agree. I think this is a team that can definitely have a run. And when you have Steph Curry on your team, anything is possible. And now that you have a center that a legit center that can shoot the ball and actually play pretty good defense. And then you add that having Draymond play that forward position again, letting him roam around. That's just scary for defense. And with the steps that Pods has been making, I can definitely see that happening for sure.
Yeah, you have Steph Curry on your team. Kevin Durant can be left wide open for a layup. Like anything's possible, right? I think they're who I would consider as a dark horse. Who do we consider as not quite contenders, but are like better than play and fight teams?
Um, dang. Okay, not quite contenders. The Bucks. I think the Bucks. I think the
Ooh.
Bucks are locked for a playoff, but I don't think they're going to make the play in. I think they're locked to make a playoff seed. Um, what the play in is 8 through 10 play, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that they could get the 7 seed, even possibly that 6 seed. Obviously there's a lot of talk of them being like really trash because of Dame, but uh and yeah, you have Kevin Porter Jr. starting there as your point guard, who's a guy that hasn't gotten a lot of starting NBA experience. But I mean, you still have Giannis, and you brought in Miles Turner, who has had some really good years, and even last year he was good for the he was really good for the Pacers. So I think that this is a Milwaukee team that should make the playoffs, but I don't think that they can do anything in the playoffs, like make it pretty far, just because like the depth isn't there and some of the star power isn't there as well. And I don't know like um, how the team chemistry is either, because we're just seeing a lot of like different guys. But you have Giannis, you have Miles Turner. Giannis is going to carry you. Uh, I wouldn't be too worried if I'm a Bucks fan. You should make the playoffs, but I don't know how much success they'll have in the playoffs once they get there.
I think Giannis plus shooting is like a great formula for regular season wins, and that's the argument for the Bucks are going to probably be a playoff lock, like you said. Miles Turner will continue the rim protection that they have always had with Brook Lopez and Giannis, and it'll just probably be good enough for, like you said, for like a 6 seed at the very least. I will go ahead and give the example of a play-in team. I think this one's very easy. Chicago Bulls. Do I need to say anything less or anything more?
Yeah.
Um, Chicago Bulls love the play-in. Now, does this team necessarily like we can have a team that we're predicting for the 12th seed. We can technically put them in the play-in here. If we think they're a team that isn't completely tanking and trying to bottom out, we will put them in the play-in, even if we don't think that they're going to be a top 10 seed. But the Chicago Bulls are like the embodiment of a play-in team, and we're going to leave it at that. And if we, a pathetic team, Brooklyn Nets are right there. So how we're going to do this is we're now going to go team by team, and we'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. They're the first team in the alphabet. They're right here. What area do we see the Atlanta Hawks being in the grand scheme of things here?
Yeah, Pat. I think I'm gonna be a little higher on you than or higher on them than you are, but I see them as contenders because I mean I think they're better than the Orlando Magic, so um, that automatically puts them as contenders. I'm really expecting big things from Trey Young. I think that he's gonna make like a superstar leap this year. There's been a lot of noise about him. I think it's been very unfair. This is a really great player, not only shooting but the playmaking there as well. You're going to get Jalen Johnson back, who was playing at an all-star level before he got hurt. And the Hawks were a really good team. Like they were hovering around that middle of the pack before he got hurt. And then from there, the season was pretty much over. You're having Kristaps Porzingis, but you also have depth now. Like Nikhil Alexander Walker was like it felt like we kind of talked about it when the Timberwolves were struggling. Like Nikhil Alexander Walker having good games is what helped them. Like obviously Anthony Edwards was a huge part of it, but like the the role that Nikhil Alexander Walker played was so huge. I think that that's just so valuable to have on your team. You have great shooters off the bench like Vít Krejcik, Luke
It's
Kennard,
good.
Oneku Kongwu. I think that if Porzingis get hurt, Oneku Kongwu is a like a really great backup center and probably starting caliber for a lot of teams in the NBA right now. He's a guy he kind of proved that he could stretch the floor too. So obviously not at the elite level that Porzingis shoots it for a big man, but he's still able to do that. And the rookie Asa Newell has a lot of promising things, especially on defense. I think this is going to be the team. I was really high on the Clippers last season. I think the Hawks are going to be the team that I stake my claim to. And being a Wizards fan, it's a little weird to say, but and a Trey Young, I was a Trey Young hater for a while, but I'm really expecting big things from Trey Young. I think that he can finally carry this team to a high seed and playoff run and complete the narrative that he's had, or brush off the narrative that he's had for a while now.
Yeah. I mean, you've laid out the argument. I've had so much change in what I think about the Atlanta Hawks, you know, throughout the offseason. I think I've even been as high as you are on them. I think as I currently stand, I'm a lot more concerned than you. Obviously, I do see the makeup of the team that everybody is super excited about with Atlanta. I kind of see them, and I think some of this is separating them in the East versus them throughout the entirety of the NBA. And I think that's a huge difference with them. I think throughout, in my opinion, obviously you have them up here in the contenders. I have them down here with Milwaukee.
Mm,
Um, I think since they're
wow.
in the East, they're going to have a top seed potentially, and they have a real chance of that. I am very concerned. um, I think maybe the argument is them in dark horse because you need Porzingis to stay healthy, you need Jalen Johnson to stay healthy. Neither of those things have been super consistent so far in the NBA. I think they can potentially run into some struggles with, um, like, Onyeka Okongwu at center minutes. I think those will be perfectly fine in the regular season. There can be some playoff matchups where, like, oh my goodness, when, uh Karl Anthony Towns is in the game, or even like, potential, like, I don't know, let's say they have a great regular season in a 3-6 game against Milwaukee and we cannot contain Giannis. I think I kind of just see Atlanta more in this area, but I think Dark Horse is obviously the blend, the evening of our two scores. But I think they're in like the high Dark Horse, not quite contenders tier. Um, I think is that fair to put them there, compromising the two and
Yeah, I feel like they have a chance. Like you said, there's a lot of things that have to go right, but like those things are possible. So, and if those
yeah,
things do go right, like I mean, they could potentially beat the Knicks or the Cavs. Like if Porzingis is healthy and Jalen Johnson is healthy. So, um, I think dark horse is valid.
yeah, I think Dark Horse is where I would put them. Brooklyn, do we move them from pathetic?
No, no, you can just say you can just leave them right there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep Brooklyn there. We'll give them their 2 seconds. Um, their best player this year is Nick Claxton, Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas. Like, that's a disastrous big 3, for Brooklyn. They got so many rookies. None of them are really going to be day 1 impact players. We're gonna keep Brooklyn in pathetic. Boston is very, very, very polarizing to me. What do we think about Boston? Where should we move Boston to? Um,
Man, this is hard. I kind of have them at like high play in, I would say, like the upper echelon of play in teams. Cause like this is like the job that is Brad Stevens the GM or is he the head coach?
he's the
Is he
GM.
still the GM? Yeah, Brad Stevens did a great job, I think, of rebuilding this team. And you're still like, yeah, Jason Tatum hurts, but like this team is better than and they is a lot better than a lot of the play-in teams. I think is why I kind of have them at like high play-in because you like coming off the bench. The bench is a little rough, but you still have like Anfrey Simon, Sam Hauser coming off the bench there. Baylor Shireman. These guys can all shoot the ball really well. Neemias Queta looked really great in Euroball and even in the preseason too. So like I think he could play like valuable center minutes. Boucher, it's going to be fun to watch him out there. And then Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, and Jalen Brown, those guys are going to go out there and ball. And you already know that. Like, you know what Derek White's going to do, not only offensively, but he's going to shut everyone down and probably average a block a game again. Um, Peyton Pritchard coming off a 6 Man of the Year award. I think that him in the starting role, he's going to let the ball fly too. And I think Joe Mazzulla is going to give him, or right, Joe Mazzulla. Joe
Yeah.
Mazzulla is going to give him full reins. So I think this is a upper echelon playing team, and you can maybe put them in not quite contenders. But I think I would put them in play in.
Maybe this is crazy. I don't think they're gonna be a better regular season team than the Hawks, but, I had them up here in dark horse, and we
Okay.
can we can obviously adjust to accommodate for both of our answers. But I think the big thing with them is they're gonna be missing Tatum for a large part of the season. When they get Tatum back, it really depends on how healthy is he. If Jason Tatum comes back really well, then, like, which is how they're framing it to be. Like, they're framing this to be an unhumanly good, torn Achilles recovery. If that's what ends up happening here, like, you have Jason Tatum, who's a top 10 player in the league, and, of course, the front court probably stinks with Luka Garza, Chris Boucher, and Kata being your guys. but, I don't think, like, it's that crazy for them to win a playoff series. Let's say they catch some health against Cleveland, like Cleveland has consistently given them fits, or that Cleveland has completely recently had problems with health. I mean, I could see that potentially happening. If the playoff bracket breaks the right way for them, it might not matter that their center rotation isn't great. I think on average, they're going to definitely have a much worse season than the Atlanta Hawks. But if like everything breaks right for both of these teams, I kind of like Boston more. Obviously, since you had them in high play-in, I think it makes sense to put them in the not quite contenders. Um, and the obvious reason to point at that for is they're going to either start Chris Boucher or Sam Hauser at the 4. So, yeah, that's gonna be great. Um, we can obviously rank through in within tiers here. Um, do we wanna weigh them up against Milwaukee, Boston, or Milwaukee?
Uh, I mean, I pretty much had these guys like neck and neck. I think like the Celtics have more like like their starting lineup I think is like more complete because I don't like yeah, you have Giannis and Miles Turner, but Giannis is like the main driving factor for the Bucks. With the Celtics, they have multiple players that I like, and they also have guys coming off the bench. You're weighing we're weighing the two. I guess I'll go Celtics.
Yeah, I think it's ever so slightly Celtics, for me. You talked about the more complete lineup. I think even on the bench, I think they have better bench bets. Um, Milwaukee has a bunch of guys who we kind of know about. We know that they're all, seventh men in the NBA at a best case scenario. I think Boston has real questions. Like, is Luca Garza somewhat of a player? I don't really think so, but there's a possibility. He's never really gotten a chance to play. Josh Minot is interesting, I guess. They are a team that is going to shoot a ton of threes, and that alone makes role players, it gives role players a better, role on the team as people who could potentially score, and they have a ton of guys who can do that. I think Boston slightly over Milwaukee makes sense because if everything breaks right, I could see Boston winning a playoff series against, one of the weirder top seeds, you know what I mean? I don't really know if I could say that about Milwaukee. Um, Charlotte Hornets. Where do we have Charlotte Hornets?
I had them in pathetic, but that might be bias. I
Ooh.
guess I would go play in. Like, I don't know. I'm just not really. I'm not sold. I think it's going to be a really fun team, but it's not going to be a team that win games. And it's not a really. You can't take a team seriously when it's led by Lamelo Ball. And I think until that leadership step is made, I think that this is a play-in team. Um, yeah, I probably a little bit of bias, but I can't see him like being a lock for the playoffs or really anything more than that. So
Yeah, I came away with late play-in for them. As we sort through these teams, we can potentially move them up or down. I don't think we'll be moving them up, but I think play-in is the right range for Charlotte Hornets. Not necessarily saying they're going to make the play-in. Um, there's a very good chance we move them down to pathetic in a little bit, but yeah, we'll see how that ends up shaping out. Cleveland Cavaliers. This was one of my teams that I had in favorites. What do we think?
yeah, I agree 100%. This is a team that won 60 games, 60 plus games last season, and they're returning pretty much the same roster. Just hopefully they figure it out in the playoffs, man. That's all I got to say. I mean, they did lose to the eventual champions with some injuries, so I still think this is a really legit team, really good team. So we should see the Cavs up there again.
All right. This is how we're really going to differentiate. This next team is really going to differentiate the favorites and the contenders. Denver Nuggets. I could see either way going on them. I had them as high contenders. My reasoning. there is questions about this team. I think the favorites are teams that, going into the season with what we know about this team, this should be a team that like has a real chance to win the NBA finals. I think there's questions about Denver that still have to be answered. How good are they defensively? Are their bench lineups anywhere near respectable? And I think they're going to be high contenders or low favorites for me. Do you have a similar sentiment on them?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think this is a really, really good team, and that's why I think they're contenders. I don't think they're um, you just can't you just can't say they're locked to win it all because like you said there's still a lot of questions with this team, but I do think that they're going to be a very very good team and a very good team in the playoffs. And like I think that like we've seen them struggle. Even last season, they struggled a lot. Like the beginning of the year, they struggled defensively. They struggled in non-Jokic minutes, and they still like took the Thunder to 7 games. So we'll see how Jonas Valanciunas is able to serve in those Jokic minutes. I'm not. I like them in the contender spot.
I 100% agree. Memphis Grizzlies is a really tough one to go with. I am feeling, and we'll soft launch this here. I'm feeling not quite contenders for Memphis Grizzlies. Um, I don't really know how to feel about them, but I feel like if Memphis gets into the playoffs, I really don't think they could win the NBA Finals, and that's how I'm gonna stay with not quite contenders. I don't. They're a team that like if they make the playoffs, they might end up being in the play-in, but I think they're better than an average play-in team, Memphis. So, what do you think on Memphis?
Yeah, I agree with what you say. Like, I think if they make the playoffs, it has to go in through via the play-in. I don't. I don't know. I don't know how good this Grizzlies roster will be, and like how reliable John Morant is going to be. Just being able to stay on the court. He suffered a lot of injuries last season. So yeah, I'm not very high on them. I would put them in the play-in, but I'm fine with not quite contenders because I can see I can see them having a good season with a lot of those playing teams like not playing to expectation to where they're in that lock for a playoff spot for sure. Because this is a they still have some guys on there like JJJ, Ja, and Jalen Wells coming in that starting lineup. It's just like after that, like I think I really like Ty Jerome, but after that, the bench lineup's a little lacking in the depth department.
Philly's really tough. Now with them, I could consider two tiers, and one is dark horse and one is play-in. And I think I'm going to land on play-in for Philadelphia. Obviously, the dark horse makes some sense to put Philly in dark horse, but I really don't think they could win an NBA Finals or be in contention for an NBA Finals. The reason behind that is because they have to win multiple playoff series and they have to stay healthy through multiple playoff series for that to happen. And I just see no reason to believe that Philadelphia can stay healthy through the playoffs. I think they could I think they'd like could very easily, very very easily be like a 6 or a 7 seed. Obviously no jokes are intended in that statement. Uh, but I'm going to put them in play and I think I would have them over both the Hornets and the Bulls. Um, and that's the range I would have them. But if I think the roster is somewhat good enough to put them in the dark horse tier, but I just they're not going to stay healthy through two playoff series, 2 or 3 playoff series. So what do you? Same sentiment.
Yeah, I agree because I like Joel Embiid could come back and like play a majority of the season. I saw him play in the preseason game or something, or that he was supposed to come back really soon. I don't know the timeline of return for him. Uh, but like you said, like health is just such a big factor with them. I could legitimately see them like Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Oubre, like those guys are all gonna ball out. I think, especially Maxey. I don't. Oubre is going to play his role. But I think Maxey is going to have a really good season once again. I really hope he stays healthy, and I think VJ Edgecombe's going to add like he's going to play a really good off ball role for them, and he's going to have some crazy highlights this season, I'm sure, especially in transition. And then you have Quentin Grimes coming off the bench too, who we talked about him in the other episode. He's incredible stretch with the 76ers. So, but that's kind of the case for the dark horse. Like that's why I can also see that. But I agree with the play in.
Yeah. Sacramento Kings. I Are they just a play-in for sure
Yeah,
team?
yeah.
Better or worse than the Bulls is my question.
I'll say they're better than the Bulls. I'll say they're better than the Bulls.
What a bar to be in.
I like that they got Schroeder. I think it adds like a good point guard to him. I think Levine can have another good year, and then you got Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. He played good bench minutes for the Nuggets last season, so
Makes perfect sense. Suns, I kind of see as like the top of pathetic, personally. Um, I kind of like there is definitely like a play-in ceiling for them, but I would say going into the year, I grade them like, they might be okay defensively. I don't think the offense is going to be any good. Yeah, what do you think?
yeah. I mean, it's gonna be D Book going out there every night and dropping 30.
If he's
With
there,
huh?
he might be hurt too.
Yeah, yeah. So, but like besides that, this roster is looking really rough. This is just bad stuff for Phoenix.
New Orleans, I kind of am also thinking about leaving them in pathetic for now. Um,
Yeah, I think pathetic. Like they would need a lot to get into the play-in.
yeah, there's a lot that has to break right for them. It's really rough with New Orleans. New York Knicks. I think the conversation is, are they contenders or favorites? I'll let you go first as the non-biased person here.
Oh, they accidentally got rid of the roster, but I like him as favorites, Pat. Couple like tough breaks, especially last season going up against Tyrese Halliburton, and he just put on an incredible show. But I think this team is gonna come out firing on all cylinders with Cat, uh, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Like this team is gross. I mean, I like them as favorites because I think they have like a chance to potentially go out there and win there. They have a starting caliber point guard who is elite. They have an elite center, and they have elite role players too. With I don't even know if you call OG and Mikal role players, but on this team, that's what they kind of fall into, or secondary scorers. I really like all the stuff they have there. Coming off the bench too, I think it's going to be a interesting look who they have. Like this is a team that's a lot deeper than teams in the past. It's a team that I think is going to be better coach, or not better coach, but different coaching, and I think that it could lead to better results with Mike Brown at the helm this season. So
Yeah, I think the coaching is much more fit to what this roster requires. I think you know my take. Anybody who's not one of your like primary players is a role player, quite frankly. So I think they have great role players. I think they have some of the best role
uh,
players in the league. I think now having potentially 8 good players rather than 7 last year is big. And I think just the fact that I think that they're probably a lock for a top 2 seed this season is enough to warrant them being a favorites. I think there's like a few East teams that could potentially give them some difficulties, but I would as well have them as a lock here in the favorites category. Um, we will move forward to the Dallas Mavericks. What range do we think for Dallas?
um, not quite contenders.
Okay.
High play in. I mean, you can make an argument for dark horse as well. I think.
So
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I like not quite contenders. I don't think. I think it's still too young of a team, or some of their one of their stars is too young. Kyrie's going to be out for a while. Even when he comes back, I I just don't know. I don't know like how they'll be able to square up. You know, not very high on like their backcourt in or maybe front court. I always get them confused, but between D'Lo and Klay Thompson. Um, I just don't know how reliable those guys can be. And even the health stuff too, like how can AD go out there and play like a full like 6 game series and go back and do it again? I don't really think so. This team will make the playoffs, but I don't think it's gonna be as good of a season as people think from them.
Yeah, I think not quite contenders is the place to go, and I think the key for it, like you said, one of their best players, Cooper Flag, is going to be a rookie. Like I don't know how ready they are going to be for a regular season, quite frankly. I or not a regular season, a postseason, and I think they're not quite contenders. I think you can, jostle with them in Memphis about who's better. I think we'll do that in the standings. Uh, yeah, I would say not quite contenders is the spot for Dallas. As far as the Detroit Pistons go, I'm going to throw them in this same spot here, in the not quite contenders. Did you have anything different?
No, I agree. I mean, it's a new year. There's new teams in the East, and I don't think the Pistons can be one that runs the table. Although they looked really good against the Knicks last season, I think they're going to have a really good regular season once again. I don't think they can win it, but I do think they'll definitely make the playoffs for sure. I don't know if they have the pieces to make a run right now. Maybe wait another year or two. Uh, Yeah, I mean, I like what they have, especially you got Duncan Robinson in the offseason, provides like a some elite shooting. You have the defense. You're getting Jaden Ivey back at some point, so yeah, I still don't think I still like them as not quite contenders.
I do as well. Like it's just like they're going to be a good team. I don't really know if they're going to be a team that is good enough on offense or defense to propel them into being a contender, like a real contender. Um, Portland, I think is like an easy early play-in or high range play-in team. I think they'd be great defensively. The offense might be horrible. But yeah, I think they're like a high play-in team, especially in the West. That like it's brutal out there. Like I think that's what they are. I think they might be a team since they're so young. When they get into the play-in, they might struggle to get out of the play-in. Like I see them here. If they are to like, maybe there's an argument that like they could be like a normal seeded play-in team if their defense is as good as we think it is, but uh, I just kind of think they would be an easy first round loss if they did. So I'm gonna say high play-in for Portland.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is a more fun Trailblazers team, and I think Chauncey Billups is getting one of the more like talented roster that he's gotten in his time in Portland. Uh, like going out and getting Drew Holiday, getting that veteran presence, and the defense. Like you said, the defense is going to be crazy. I mean, all of the guys in their lineup are really good defenders. With talk about Drew Holiday, Tamuni Kamara, Avdia, Grant. Well, we'll see if he's still at that level, and then Donovan Clingan, who had an amazing rookie season. And I think that they'll be able to give you something on offense, especially with Denny Avdia going out there. And then Young Hansen is going to be so much fun to watch, especially as a playmaker. Uh, Shaden Sharp also, who just signed a big contract extension, is going to be a really good, really interesting spot off the bench. This is one of the better Trailblazers teams that we've seen in a
Houston's a
while.
tough one to rank. Now, I'm going to say my answer and we can discuss it. See them kind of here. High contenders. Before the Fred VanVleet injury, kind of, would have probably put them in the favorites, but I think that's like a real like it's going to give them some difficulties in the playoffs not having great ball handlers, especially going against OKC, who will give anybody concerns about their ball security. Um, Pause. I think like that's got to be a pause, right?
Maybe.
Um, that's why I have Houston in the contenders tier. Um, do you see it differently than me?
Yeah, I like him as favorites, Pat. I think KD coming in just absolutely elevates them. and gives them like just like such a reliable option offensively, and you surround him with really good defenders. And Sengun is such a good player. We already talked about it. Like he can go in there, work in the post, and get his buckets that way. Um, they're gonna run Steven Adams too, and we saw how successful that double big lineup is. I think this is like a team that like size wise matches up great with the Thunder. They're not gonna have any trouble guarding. They're not gonna have any trouble guarding Chet. They're not gonna have any trouble guarding like J Dub. They have guys that can guard Shea. I think Amen Thompson at point guards is really fun, and I think that throughout the season he's going to be able to play make, and he's going to learn how to ball handle a little bit more. And then you have guys like Aaron Holiday, like Aaron Holiday looked like a veteran guard. I think that he can get the job done. Like he can go in there and make the right passes. I think, and also knock down the three. And like this team defensively is going to be really good. Like coming off the bench, you have Tari Eason, Jashawn Tate. Those guys not only can do it defensively, but they can do it offensively. They have Dorian Finney-Smith, who was so good for the Lakers last season. This team is super deep, and I think that the addition of KD automatically makes him a favorite, just because of the offense he's going to give you and the veteran leadership. And then I think what he's going to do for Jabari Smith is going to unlock Jabari Smith as more of an offensive player, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I think since I moved the Hawks down and you had the Hawks higher, I'll move Houston. I'll move Houston up. Also because I don't know how many more favorites we're gonna have here. I don't know if there's any left. Utah, we're gonna leave them in pathetic. Probably a hot take, but we're gonna leave Utah and also Washington. Unless you have something to say on Washington.
I
You're
think
also
they, I
you go.
think they, I think they need a dark horse run to get to the play in. I in my rankings, I had them like best case scenario is the 10 spot. So I agree with pathetic though. They would. I mean, we have a lot of pieces this season. Like I could see it going right potentially, but I think I'm also like just really hoping. So I think pathetic is the place to put them in. Pray we get some better lottery luck than in the years past.
Yeah, I think they got more pieces than they've had before. It's just I don't know how many of those pieces
Are gonna
work to
stay.
form a basketball team
Yeah,
is the thing with them. Like they've definitely got more talent than they've had in the past years. It's just like their front court's still kind of rough. They're gonna start Middleton at the four potentially. Uh like that's just I really like they're gonna drop so many games in the regular season just based off of that. Indiana, I have as a play-in team. The reason I see them differently than Boston is because, like, Indiana, they're not speaking like Halliburton is going to return, and Halliburton is not like jumping off of vertical like Tatum is. Like I said, I had Boston and dark horse just because I feel like there is a dark horse chance that they could be a good team come playoff time. I really think Indiana's just like the roster that they have is a play-in team is what it is. It's not like terrible, despite losing Halliburton and Miles Turner, but that's where I would have Indiana. Do you see it differently?
no, I agree 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. Uh, Solid roster, but just not good enough to be anything above a play-in team. Like, but once Halliburton's there, obviously this is going to be one of the better teams in the East once again. But unfortunate right now, it's a terrible injury, terrible what happened, but they'll be back.
Los Angeles Clippers. I'm going to put them in the dark horse tier. I
Ooh.
think there's a lot that needs to go right with them. Maybe instead of getting hurt in the regular or Kawhi gets uh, hurt in the end of the regular season, they're still good enough to secure a top ish seed and they get an easier first round matchup. And then when Kawhi misses the first round and comes back in the second round, that's they can win the second round off of Kawhi being back. I think there's just like I'm saying, there's a lot that needs to go right for the Clippers. But I do think that like they are a team that like if you squint enough, there's some stuff there, and, like, obviously, too, there's the ongoing investigation against them with the current NBA that, like, we have no idea what's gonna happen with that throughout the season. I would bet towards nothing for this year, and we'll see punishment next summer, um, but I would have the Clippers here. Was that higher than you would have them?
No, I would put them at contenders if like, but like my reasoning for putting them at contenders is because everything would go right. So I think by that premise alone, I they belong in dark horse.
Yeah, I kinda described Denver that way, so I could see moving Clippers. I think they're, like, top of dark horse, bottom of contenders, so we'll move them there for now. Um, and we can obviously come back to it later. San Antonio Spurs, maybe this is a hot take, 'cause a lot of people are really high on the Spurs right now. I'm gonna have them as a not quite playoff team. Um, I
Not quite contenders.
obvious what?
You mean not quite,
Yeah.
not quite contenders.
There we go. Jeez. Obviously, everyone loves Wemby. We love Wemby. I don't know how much I love the other players on their roster. I don't know how I love the fit with the other players on the roster. I think they're a year away from being like a real team. I think this is a year where they can give a team a scare in the first round potentially, but I don't think it will be like a very real thing that could potentially end up in a championship, all things considered. So I can't really put them as a dark horse or a contender. Obviously, like, I think if the argument for them as a dark horse is they make some roster changes, and I think that being the reason I could see them being a dark horse is enough to say that they're not quite a contender. Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota, I like as dark horse, dark horse. I think this is a really solid Timberwolves team. I do think they're going to need a lot to go right, or not a lot to go right, but they're definitely going to need some things to go right um, to win a championship. The defensive stuff is going to be there. I'm curious about the offense for sure. Is Julius Randle going to be able to do what he did in the playoffs throughout the whole season? Is he going to be able to give you effort on defense? What is Rudy Gobert going to look like again? Like they have like if Rob Dillingham can come off the bench and be really good for you, I think like that having that ability to go deep is going to be really good for them. But I think I have some questions about the offense still. But I really do think this is a solid Timberwolves team. As we saw last season, the only reason that they weren't higher was because they struggled at the beginning of the season. And hopefully that doesn't happen again. This is a team that's pretty deep. And then you add the fact that Nas Reed's coming off your bench, who we talked about already in this episode. I think that they're a dark horse.
Yeah, I would have them there too. Like, there's just a bunch that has to go right with them. Um, and yeah, I can't remember where I had heard it, but somebody was, on some podcast was talking about teams to make 3 straight conference finals. It's just a very exclusive list, and most of those teams were, like, dynasties that made 3 straight conference finals. The roster's not tangibly different from a year ago, if anything, it's, like, slightly worse. You wanna factor in development, you could see it being slightly better or just about the same. I think that they were a team that caught a pretty good break in the playoff seeding last season. They got the Lakers, who were we thought they were a fine team, but a little bit of a Mickey Mouse 3rd seed. Like, they were, like, maybe the 6th best team in the West last year, and then the Warriors, who I think was a very legit team. Obviously, I have them in dark horse, but Steph Curry played, like, 3 quarters in that series, and we saw them get destroyed by OKC. Damn near everybody did, but Denver and Indiana played them really well, and I think Minnesota's just here in the dark horse. They need to not catch OKC because I think that gives them some strategic nightmares. And like Denver, I think they could beat in a series, but we'll just have to see with Minnesota. I think dark horse is the right place for them. If they have like a scorching good regular season, then you could see them get another very good playoff bracket that goes in their favor as well. And that's another side of things. And like they have a healthy team. that is, they've had a year of chemistry, of building chemistry together. Um, for that reason, like I could see a really good Minnesota regular season happening, and that would potentially set them up for that weak playoff bracket. A lot of time we spent there on Minnesota. Toronto, uh, I am going to put them in play-in. Let me know if you got anything on Toronto besides play-in.
Yeah, I think playing's the perfect place to put them. Definitely an interesting roster. You got a lot, very forward heavy, a lot of the same archetypes. We've talked about it already in that episode, but I mean, it's still going to be a solid enough team to earn you that playoff spot. We talk about like quickly Barrett, Ingram, Barnes. Those are all pretty solid players. Jakob Pertl too. We talked about what he did. I think defensively for them last season. Uh, and yeah, it's going to be Brandon Ingram's debut season in Toronto. So maybe that brings a little bit of luck for them. But I think I'm comfortable putting him, or I think the perfect place for them right now is that playing spot.
Yeah, Raptors fans will hate us for it, but yeah, I think play-in's 100% right. There's a lot that needs to go right for them to make it out of the play-in even. So, the Los Angeles Lakers. I am in a couple of spots for them. I think low dark horse is where I would put the Lakers. I could see not quite contenders just based off of the depth of their roster. Questions about LeBron's age as he gets, deeper into playoff runs. What does that do to his health? What does that do to his level of play even? But I would say they're a low dark horse. Luka Doncic is the number 2 playoff scorer in points per game of all time. I think that alone nets them being a dark horse.
Yeah, I like Dark Horse too. Yeah, I like Dark Horse too because if oh my gosh, if LeBron is able to be healthy and play throughout the playoffs, and they get production from their bench like we think that they can with guys like if Dalton Connect comes out there and isn't like how he's looked kind of in the past in regular season. Like we talked about his trade value going down a lot, but I mean, I think that if he can go out there and provide like solid shooting off the bench for them, if they get Jared Vanderbilt like playing defense and just
Yeah.
playing out there for that matter, I think that's huge for them. If Marcus Smart can actually play defense or is still capable of playing at a high level, that's also like that put like catapults them into like, oh wait, this team could possibly do this. And you have Luca, AR-15, Rui, and LeBron will be there. So I think like having those guys are just like an automatic. Like we kind of talked about with the Warriors, like it's hard to stop Steph in the playoffs, right? He's able to make magic, and we're talking about two guys that are like that in LeBron and Luca, and they're on the same team. So
Yep. Flawless argument. Miami Heat. I am going to have them either as a low, not quite contenders, or a high play-in. I'll let you sway my decision here.
yeah, Pat. I don't know. I looking at this Heat roster, I was kind of like I kind of was kind of high on them, but I think I'm gonna keep them in that not quite contender spot. I don't. I'm not going to make the case for dark horse. I don't think even if things go 100% right, they're still capable of winning a championship because I think the bench depth is just is really lacking at that end. But I mean, I think this can be a really solid team. I think they're a lock for a play in for sure. I or not. They're a lock for a playoff spot. I don't think they'll touch the play in.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll get a little spicy here. I think I think they'll
spicy.
make it. I think they'll make it. I'm confident in this team. Obviously, it's gonna hurt without having Tyler Hero there, but I mean, Khalil Ware is like legit. Like he is legit, the legit center, like legit defensively. And to pair that like with Bam Adebayo, I think that's just gonna be so much fun to watch throughout the season. Norman Powell, that addition is gonna be really interesting, especially when they get Hero back. But for now, like and then you have Davion Mitchell, who played really good defense for them and was really good playmaking. And I think he's going to be able to find these guys. And they also have Andrew Wiggins, who was playing good. I like this Miami Heat team, actually. I don't think they're as bad as like people are going to think. So, but I do think not quite contenders is the spot.
Wow. We got the spicy take. All right. We are further in on here now. We will now transition to standings. And I'm not sure we're obviously not going to do it on the contenders screen share, but we're going to. How do I stop sharing? Uh, stop sharing. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna transition. No layout will be added. All right. Standings. We're gonna start in the East. Well, obvious place to start because it's one of the two divisions or one of the two conferences. Eastern Conference. We're gonna have the team that we think will finish in each spot, most likely, and then we will have the ranges in which we think those teams could finish. We're with the one seed. I think it's the fun place to start. Who do we have as the one seed for the Eastern Conference for this upcoming season?
I got the Cavs, Pat. I think they're going to come off a strong, like, we saw what they were able to do last season, the regular season. And I think they're going to replicate that. We talked about it. There's a lot of roster turnover. So I think there's going to be a lot of big things from them. What about you? What did you have?
I as well came away with the Cavs. I had them ranked 1 through 3. I can't really see a avenue for them being a bad team this season. I think they have a clear path to a top 10 offense and defense. I think the Cavs is like the clear pick. Did you have them 1 through 3 ranged basically?
Yeah, I had them 1 through 3.
Yes, let's go. Number 2, I came away with the New York Knicks, also ranged 1 through 3.
Well, Pat, so far so good. I got the same thing. So
Oh,
I agree 100%.
let's hope this isn't a repeat of our West predictions last year where we had basically the same like top like 8, I think, and like they were so wrong. They were so wrong. Um, Orlando Magic was my number 3 team. I'm assuming they were your number 4 team.
Yeah, they were. And that's a good guess. Um, I had the Hawks. I had the Hawks at 3, but I ranged them 3 through 5. I can see them not like playing up to expectations, but I think the floor is 5 for them. I do think they're going to be a solid squad. But I think I got them at 3. Like I said, I already talked about it. I'm not going to harp on it again, but I think Quinn Snyder can get these guys in a good position along with Trey Young.
I had the Magic 1 through 4. I think that there is a real chance that they not win the East regular season, or win the. I think they could have the best regular season record. I think they could also be the 4 seed. I ended up with them at 3, right behind Knicks and Cavs. Yeah, I'm like very confident that Orlando will be good. Um, whether or not I really believe in them in a playoff setting, we'll just have to see. But yeah, that's how I see Orlando. At number 4, you already mentioned the Magic. What range should you have them?
2 through 4. I agree with you. Like this is a team that like they have all the defensive stuff to just kill teams in the regular season along with the shooting, and I could see them. I can see them being like a really high seed. I don't think they can grab that 1 seed though, so that's why I kind of capped it at the 2.
Yeah, I could see the regular season. It would take steps forward from internally, but yeah. Number 4, I came away with the Pistons, ranged 3 through 8. I think a large part of the second half was pretty legit. Um, And I think they're just a pretty decent team, and we'll talk about it in superlatives about thoughts on the team. But I have Pistons. I have Pistons at 4. For that matter, since we already have revealed your 4, I did have the Hawks also ranged 3 through 8, and I had them at number 5. Who did you have at 4?
The Magic.
Or 5 is what I meant.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I had the Pistons at 5.
Okay,
And I ranged them 4 through 6. Dang.
4 through 6.
The heck? Yeah, I had them 4 through 6. I think this is a really solid Pistons squad. Caden Cunningham is going to lead these guys. They have so much grit defensively as well, good shooters. So I think this is going to be a good regular season team, but I can also see them not being as good as some other teams. So that's what kind of had them at the 4 through 6. But I don't think they'll beat that bad to warrant that 7 / play in spot at 8.
Yeah, I could see, Ivy's gonna miss the start of the season. A lot of their players with like the tenacity that they play with can be a little bit injury prone. And like there could be real concerns about the shooting this season, losing Beasley and now like Asar Thompson is probably going to play a ton for them and he's a shooting question mark, especially if he's playing next to another center. And then like the same thing with the Hawks, like I like Porzingis, I'm gonna pencil him in for like 35 games this season, and like maybe not much more than that. And you know, Trae Young is like sneakily an Iron Man now, but you need steps forward from Ricochet. You need Jalen Johnson to be healthy and an all-star level player again for them to really be like a high lock for me. If not, I can see them middling throughout the regular season as they don't have their game breaker in Porzingis. So, um, six seed, what'd you have?
I had the Heat, Pat. I had the Heat at the 6th seed. I ranged them 6 through 9. I can obviously see him getting some of the play-in stuff, and maybe this might be hurt a little bit by Tyler Hero missing the start of the season, so maybe they won't be able to get that 6th spot. But I don't know why, Pat. And I like today. I woke up in a Heat state of mind. Maybe it's because I'm in Florida, but I'm really intrigued by like the defense they're going to be able to do with like rim protection with Cal and Bam, and I think that they'll be good enough offensively. Like I think Norman Powell, Wiggins, and Bam like can provide them like good enough scoring to beat teams in the regular season, and it makes up for that bench depth. Like they can make up for the bench depth in the regular season that they can't make up for in the playoffs. So
I think you cooked, honestly. I was really low on the Heat until we did the Heat episode, and I went and did the lineup data and said, "Oh my goodness, Terry Rozier and Jaime Jaquez Jr. were like horrible last season, and anytime they were on the floor, the Heat just got absolutely killed last season." And yeah, I had the Heat at 7. My
oh,
sixth team was the Milwaukee Bucks. I ranged them 3 through 12. I could see the bottom falling out with Milwaukee if
yeah.
Giannis misses like 2 weeks of games and they go, 1-8. Like, yeah, like it's and like Giannis has like been a guy who's typically pretty healthy, but like he will, like if Giannis misses 2 weeks, they're going 1-8 through in those 2 weeks. Miami, like I said, I had them at 7. I said 5 through 10. Like I could really see, like you said, like the defense is good. Like Eric Spoelstra with Bam Adebayo is probably a walking top 10 defense. And even though they're missing Hero, I think it's only supposed to be for about 5 games. And they've got
Oh, okay.
they've yeah, and they've added like a good amount of scoring to where like maybe it helps to implement Norman Powell without Tyler Hero. And you can kind of find Norman Powell's role before Tyler Hero comes back, and then you don't have to implement that many things at once. And Wiggins is not a garbage player. Khalil Ware is good. I really liked Casper Siakachonis in the draft. Not sure how big of a role he's going to play. And then they just have enough, depth role players that can muddy up games. Nikola Jovic was given an extension. He's not terrible. Yeah, I think this is a play and lock team that could peak at like a 5-6 team, honestly. Um, I'm assuming you had Milwaukee at number 8 or
At 8,
7.
yeah, at 7, I ranked them 6 through 11.
Yeah. Uh, for that being said, I guess I'll give the higher end pitch on Milwaukee since I had them at 6 and I ranged them through 12. Uh, like Giannis winning MVP would have to happen. They have shooting around him. The defense of an eco structure or ecosystem could have a ton more structure with Miles Turner, 5 out spacing plus Giannis. All of their lineups with Dame were terrible last year. They no longer have him. Like it could just be like it would require like all the teams that aren't the Knicks and the Cavs to kind of just like desperately underachieve expectations. But then like if all of those things happen, it's a 59 win Bucks or 49, geez, 49 win Bucks team, and like that's probably a 3 seed if all the other teams, you know, don't live up to what we think they could be. Number 8. This is very interesting. This is a huge like tier break for me.
Yeah. Uh, I put the Celtics here, Pat. I think that
Me
they're
too.
gonna yeah, okay. They're gonna play some really good basketball. I already said it before. I think that they have good enough scoring from those first three guys. I like that what Nemus can do for them at center. And they have some guys off the bench that can really shoot the ball, and with the way they shoot it, they're going to be really good. And I ranged them 7 through 10. Um, yeah,
I had them 8. I arranged them 5 through 13. I think the 5 is if their regular season starts better than we expect and they bring Tatum back and Tatum's healthy. Like, they could make a sneaky 5 seed push, I think. Like, it would require was a couple of the teams to be worse than them, but that's why I have the space between 6, 7 seed, 8 seed, which I have them at, and, like, the 13 is like, "Okay, the team's not very good, we're not rushing Tatum back. We'll just get Darren Peterson in the draft. We don't Jason Tatum come back next year, and we'll" or they even bring back Jason Tatum. They make up fake injuries for Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum's on a minutes restriction, and then it just doesn't matter that Jason Tatum comes back, and, maybe that's even a little bit better way to do it because then you work him back, so next season when he's not trying to play his first NBA games in 2 years. Um, 9 seed, I think we'll probably have the same team here, and then we might differ at 10. I had Indiana.
I had uh I had the 76ers at 9.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
This is
ranked
our
them
first yeah, this is our first, like, pretty big difference.
I ranked them 7 through 11. Uh I still think that like they can get it done even if Embiid doesn't play significant minutes. I think Maxi is just that good along with VJ Edgecombe. Um and some of the other pieces that they have. And I think Quentin Grimes coming off the bench gives them like legit bench minutes. Justin Edwards isn't bad. And if Joel Embiid like can play enough games, I think this team can be chilling at a 9 seed.
Okay, I'll give my 76ers opinion. I had Pacers, I had them 6 through 12. I think the way that they're a 6 seed is if their defense is very, very good, um, and the offense is just respectable. We talked about how, there's possibly room for Siakam to grow into a bigger role this season, and not many people are talking about that. Everybody's talking about Mathurin and, Nembhard are gonna take huge steps forward. Like, in Toronto, Pascal Siakam averaged, like, 24 and 6, and the 6 being assists. Like, he could take a huge step forward, and he's averaged, like, 3 assists a game in Indiana. They can use him more as a playmaker. Do I think the offense will be great? Probably not, but we'll see that. And then I had, like, 12 is like, okay, things aren't going well. We'll pull the plug a little bit, try to improve our draft odds a little bit. I think that's the move for Indiana. Who did you have at 10?
I had the Raptors, Pat. I had the Raptors at 10. I ranked them 9 through 11. I don't really see much movement between here. I think up and down. I think I think it's a solid enough team, even though I'm not really high on their draft pick. I always make sure to mention that. Um, but hold on, let me find. Oh yeah, I really think Brandon Ingram's gonna come in here and like do good things for them, like good enough things. Like I think he's gonna be good enough to get him to the 10 seed. That's not really saying much, but like some of the guys that he has around him too, they can all score the ball and they can all play a little bit of defense too. Coming off the bench, like Jamal Sheed was really good last season, really good at playmaking and can shoot the ball from three. Grady Dick took a step up last season. Ochi Abaji can also still shoot it.
Mamu.
Mamukoshi, Mamu, Mamu. I think he's gonna be pretty. He's gonna be decent enough off the bench. Give him a little bit of fun. That's why I had him at 10.
You mentioned uh, having a lower stock on their rookie, man. I went through and after doing the rewrites, where do you think I had CMB in the class? After writing up everybody, because I'd
20th,
obviously what
20th,
7th,
7th. All right.
yeah. After doing the write ups, I was higher on CMB. I was like, okay, you know what? I really kind of like this guy. I think he's really good. Um, yeah, I had Raptors at 10 as well. I ranged them 6 through 12. I think if they're going to finish as a 6 seed, they're going to be a really good defense. The offense will have a fine floor with Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes. Jakob Poeltl's a great screen setter roller. I think your issues are is Emmanuel quickly healthy, is Scotty Barrett or Scotty Barnes healthy, is Brandon Ingram healthy? Those are guys who have had injury concerns. Is RJ Barrett even on the team anymore? Not sure. The fit is really weird. I think if Darko does a good job sorting through who should be starting, what lineup pairings should he play. I think it could be a 6 seed, and like their offense is like the 20th best in the league, and their defense is the ninth, and that's how they get there. 12 seed, like they're just they don't figure those things out. They're not very good. At number 11, who did you have?
This is where I had the Pacers, Pat, and I ranked them 9 through 12. Um, we already mentioned like Tyrese Halliburton is a huge blow that they won't have, but they're still gonna have Siakam. They're still gonna have Nimhard. They're still gonna have guys that can play. Still have Matherin. Still have guys that are coming off the bench too that can play really good basketball. Uh, so I think that they'll be fine. Like they'll probably make a play in. All things considered, but it's just it's just crazy being a Pacers fan. Like running like from Game 7, it's just crazy how everything changed just like that. You go from even if you don't make, even if you don't win Game 7, like you're gonna be one of the favorites next season. But after Halliburton goes out, that really hurts. So
I'm surprised. Last year I was lower on the Chicago Bulls than you, and this year I'm higher than you on the Chicago Bulls. I had them at 11. I ranged them 8 to 12. I think for them to finish 8, a lot of like the Pacers and the Celtics have to pull the plug on the season, and the Raptors don't figure things out, and uh, that's what it would take, and yeah, I just don't think the Bulls are a very good team. They've shown that they love to push everything in and beat the 10 seed. For that reason, I will have them falling just short of their favorite spot, which is the 10 seed. Um, yeah. What's the next spot that you have to rank? I think it's 10 or 11?
12.
12.
That's
Holy
where I
sh
got Chicago.
scale. What range did you have on them?
10 through 12. Not really, don't really seem, not really a big future for them. I think this is playing or bust. Yeah.
A play-in or almost play-in for the Chicago Bulls.
Hell yeah.
Um, yeah, the Josh Giddey preseason minutes have been pretty rough for Chicago. So, yeah, let's go. $80 million. Would love to see it. Um, at 12, I had the Hornets. I ranged them 8 to 12. I really don't like them that much, but like I could see them, making a play-in spot. It would be a week 8 seeds ranking. Uh, I think they should probably be 13th actually as their low end. Uh, yeah, that's what I would say. The Hornets are 8 to 13 for me in that range, and that would be like, oh, LaMelo's not healthy, Brandon Miller's not healthy. Whoa, shocker! That's where I would rank the Charlotte Hornets. Let's go, baby. In like the high end on them is like their offense is really good. Charles Lee's a Boston type guy. They have a roster that can shoot a ton of threes. The defense is going to be so bad, like so bad. Um, so there's just an obvious cap on them. Who'd you have at 13?
I went with the Wizards. I got the Wizards at
Oh,
13. Ranged them 10 through 13, no, 10 through 15, I think, or 10 through 14, 10 through 14. 10 through 14 on the rankings. I can completely see us just tanking. Honestly, I'll go 10 through 15 because I can just see us absolutely tanking. But like on the plus side, this roster is it's really deep. Like we have like this is you could go 10 deep, honestly. Like the amount of rookies we have and young guys, I think is really interesting. I think like we have a little bit more defense, and I think the Hornets can say that they have with Kashawn George and Alex Sarr running that backcourt, just being absolutely locked or front court. But and then also like you get Cam Whitmore coming off the bench. Uh, Will Riley looked really good in the preseason. Uh, Trey Johnson, I think he's going to do really good. One of the best shooters in the class, and I think that his ball handling is just amazing. AJ Johnson is going to be awesome to watch too. He played up a lot of great film, not only last year, but like just throughout his career, like a highlight reel. So yeah, I think we could potentially make a playing game, potentially.
at 13, I had Philly. I had their range. I think the widest here. I had them 5 through 13. I think N like, the 5 range is Embiid and Paul George combined for, like, 110 games, and the offense is, like, pretty decent even without them because Maxey takes a step forward. VJ's good right away. Quentin Grimes plays like he has a chip on his shoulder, and, like, Adem Bona isn't terrible because 'cause he'll be playing a ton probably regardless of like, he'll be playing a ton regardless, and, I think they have enough on the wing to, like, sneak out some wins in the regular season when Embiid and Paul George don't play, and then, like, the 13 seed is like, "Oh, even Maxey and Quentin Grimes are hurt, and Jared McCain is already hurt," and I think, like, there's just such a wide range on them. Yeah, 5 through to 13, and I put them at 13 because I don't wanna get burned by Philly. So um, I will put them at 13 and say that they might be the 5 seed. Um, and when we ranked them, I put them as a play-in team. So they're so tough. At 14, I'll go ahead and do my 14. I had Washington. You won't like it, but I had them 14 through 15. I'm not, I was much more
Come
high
on,
when
Pat. I had you guys as contenders. I had you guys as favorites. The hell?
oh, come on. I was a lot higher on their offseason than I think I am on the team. I think they did a good job, like, acquiring assets. I don't think they have yet found a a competitive core yet. I think they have a team that has a bunch of players who might be decent. A lot of them are rookie or second year players. I think that you could start to see a good bit of signs for the years coming with this Wizards team, and, like, there's a good chance that next year is, like, a huge step forward for them as their players enter their like, all of their players enter their 2nd and 3rd seasons. I think they're a year away from being, like, a real team, and they could be, like, semi-legit in a year. Like, it would take a good draft pick this year. Sarr takes some positive steps, maybe make some layups. Um yeah, that's where I have them. I like the players on the team though, like I've always said, and that's why I liked their offseason. Uh, you had the Hornets at 14, correct?
Yeah, 10, 10 through 14. Or I guess I'll go 9 through 14. Like I can legitimately see this team being a playing team just because of how good the offense has to be potentially. Like all these guys are shooters out there, guys that can drive to the rim as well. I just think that teams are going to end up outscoring them in the regular season. They're going to be a team that can score a lot of points but give up way too many. And I've seen that with the Wizards far too many times, and we have not been a good team for a while. Like we've been able to put up points but can't score it. So I think that the Hornets probably going to be around the bottom of the barrel, but I could potentially see them being a play-in team.
So we have both ended up with the Brooklyn Nets at 15. Is your range for them just 15?
I could see 12 through 15. I wrote 12 through 15 because I could see I'm a lot higher on their rookies, I think, than you are, and consensus is I'm excited to see Eeyore Dingman play. I think MPJ could have like a couple 40 balls to propel the team. But I think realistically 15 through 14 is where they're gonna be. But I range 12 through 15. Why not? I like Igor Demon.
I had them 14 through 15. I don't really see a way that they can be anywhere decent this year. I think their players are all development projects. Like I said, Nick Claxton, MPJ, and Cam Thomas is their big three. It's gonna be a musty year, I think. We'll move forward to the West. Just
All right,
like
before we move forward, I drank like 3 bottles of water. I really gotta pee. Do you mind?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
real
Run
quick.
run off real quick.
Thank you,
Uh,
thank you.
I'll,
You
I'll
you can
keep it
stall
flowing.
or whatever you need to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, you're good. For the people not here, we just finished ranking the East, and it was a pretty good time. We ended up with some combination of Cavs, Knicks, Magic, Pistons, and Hawks as our top 5 seeds, and then, we both had Milwaukee and the Heat flipping in 6 and 7 seeds, and then we had the Celtics as our projected 8 seed. So, we had a couple of a lot of those things were very similar last year. The conference that we were very similar on, we were very wrong about, so I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad sign, just yet, but I'm very surprised. I was expecting us to have a little bit more differentiation, especially when we did the contenders rankings. Sheldon obviously had Atlanta a good bit higher than me, but I think that's just how I see Atlanta in like a playoff environment. I'm a little bit lower on them. I'm not really sure how many. I think they actually will give the Knicks some difficulties. I think that's a situation where they could have some schematic advantages, but I think against a lot of teams that are going to be like in that mid range of the Bucks and the Magic and the Pistons and the Heat, like those teams can give Atlanta trouble, I think. Um, and even like a Celtics Hawks first round series, if that were to somehow happen, I don't know how I would predict that just yet. Probably would lean Atlanta, obviously, but if the Celtics are in a first round series, it's because Jason Tatum's good and healthy, and the supporting cast was better than the pessimistic looks that it could give. Um, I don't necessarily think that I don't hate Atlanta, but, I guess I'm a little bit lower. I was at one point extremely, extremely high on Atlanta because I really, really loved their offseason. They did a lot of cooking. They got the Pelicans first round pick, but we had the Pelicans as one of our 5 teams in the pathetic tier. And yeah, shout out to the Atlanta Hawks, for ending up with that first round pick. Um yeah, other than that, Sheldon, you were obviously out, but I mentioned how, this year we had the same top 8 teams, just in different orders,
Yeah.
but that was not good last season. We'll hope it's a better sign this year for our shooting percentage.
Uh, I think hopefully after keeping up with the NBA a lot more closely than I have in like many years, like since we did the pod, I think hopefully my predictions should be better than last season. Hopefully, I got a little bit more evidence.
I hope so too. Man, that West, going back and watching our West predictions last year was so rough because we really we got some of the stuff right, and just like there was a ton of stuff now that with foresight was very obvious. Like I think we nailed what we thought about the Kings. Like I think my direct words were, "Oh, the Kings are going to be the 7th ranked offense," and they
Yeah,
were the
I,
7th ranked offense.
I oh I remember writing that down in the our our
Best in New
Cubs
York's
and
takes.
L's video. Yeah, did I
Yeah,
mention that one?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, then yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like, damn, what the hell? That's like crazy spot on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we failed on a couple side of those things. We're going for our redemption now. Year 2 of predicting the Western Conference standings. Uh, Number 1 seed, I had the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I ranged them 1.
wow. All right.
Who did you have?
I had the Rockets, baby. I had the
Ooh.
Rockets. Man, something about KD just gets me going. Ayo. But
That's
uh,
OD.
I think the addition of KD, the tall lineup is just going to be hell for people to go against this regular season. But I did range them 1 through 4 because I can definitely see them just having a really good season, but not an elite season. Even though I think KD is the guy that can take them there. They have a lot of young guys, a lot of defense too. This is not only an offensive team; this is a defensive team. Um, and Jabari Smith Jr. Man, I'm very excited to see how he plays. So I ranked them 1 through 4 though, 1 through 4, but 1 through 4.
This this is your Pacers. This is your
This is my
Pacers.
Pacers. This is my Pacers. My Clippers, my Pacers. Or I guess the Hawks are my Clippers.
Yeah, the Hawks are your Clippers. Yeah, I see it. Thunder, I ranged 1 through 1 because they won 68 games a year ago with Chet and Hardenstein combining for like 80 of them. They had like by far the best defense in the league and like one of the best all time last season. I think the offense will still be like a little bit of a concern when Shea's on the bench, but they will still kill teams when Shea's on the bench because they're so good defensively. I kind of don't see the Thunder falling to a 2 seed. I'm assuming you have the Thunder as a 2 seed. I ended up
I got the
with the
Spurs at
Nuggets.
2. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I got the Thunder, and I ranged them 1 through 2. Go ahead.
Uh,
Go
yeah, Thunder, yeah, 1 through 2. I 100%, yeah. I think if you're not ranking them 1 through 1, then ranking them 1 through 2.
Yeah.
Obvious. Denver Nuggets I had at 2. I ranged them 2 through 4. Um, when when I was going through it, I was just like, man, there's a lot of teams here that are very good, but I'm like very confident that the Nuggets will have a top 3 offense this season, and I like that's just going to farm regular season wins. They have Nikola Jokic that's going to farm regular season wins. Their depth is better now. I think last season they won 50 games. Like I kind of just see them as like, okay, they're going to win 56 games. They have a better bench. They improved their starting lineup, swapping in Cam Johnson from MPJ. And the depth was just so bad last season. They got it slightly better. Jamal Murray was like not good for stretches in the regular season. Like everybody knows Jamal Murray is such a great player when it comes to playoffs and he's killing people. He needs to prove himself in the regular season. Like we're never saying that about players, but let's have a full regular season from Jamal Murray, or just more regular season from Jamal Murray. I have Nuggets at 2. I assume they are your third team.
Yeah, they're my third team. I like you said, the depth here is the key for them. Like that's what makes them such a better team than last season because they actually have depth. Uh, talk about Tim Hardaway Jr., Julian Strother, who looked really good last season, and Peyton Watson, who's also really good, also defensively and was making some improvements offensively there as well. I also ranked them 2 through 4. Pat, uh, this is a team that we should see at the top of the standings.
Oh geez, I'm catching a trend because at number 3 I have Houston, range 2 through 4. So outside of me predicting OKC 1 and only at 1, we are like exactly the same here. Yeah, this is pretty great. But I have Rockets there. I think their defense is probably the other sure thing in the NBA. Just like I think the Nuggets are a lock to be a top 3 offense. I think Houston's a lock to be a top 3 defense. They literally were the 2 seed last season with Jalen Green being their lead creator. Now they're gonna have Kevin Durant doing that. Like that's the greatest upgrade ever. Um, as a year-to-year lead creator change. And I think like the two players who are my favorites for most improved are literally Houston Rockets and Alperen Şengün and Amen Thompson. I think that Houston is going to be a great regular season team, like you said. I ranged them 2 through 4. As I'm looking back, maybe I should have put Nuggets and Rockets. No, no, I like them at 2 through 4. Um, Number 4, I think, is where the West starts, and this is where maybe we can break the curse of having similar predictions.
Am I
What
gonna
do you
start
have?
off? All right.
Yeah, start
I
us
got the
off.
Clippers, Pat. I got the Clippers at 4. Uh,
Not yet. Not yet. I have them at 4 as well.
no way. That's crazy. I didn't think so. I didn't think you'd have them this high, but I guess you're learning from last year's mistake, huh? No, I'm kidding. Man, like adding John Collins is just is huge for them, I think. And then also off the bench too, or not even off the bench, Bradley Beal in your starting lineup is going to be really solid. That like James Harden is one of the best facilitators in the league, or he not one of the best facilitators, but he's a very
He
good.
is.
Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah.
he's a very good playmaker. Is the bottom line. And I think that he can get the ball to Bradley Beal. Something that Bradley Beal hasn't had like a legit like facilitator
10 years.
Since John
Yeah.
Wall. He didn't have one in Phoenix, and he never had one in
Post John Wall.
yeah, since John Wall. So I think that that's going to add so much to his game. And maybe we see like a Beal when he entered the league, like a catch and shoot shooter who's just like an elite from there. And he shot the ball well last season, and now you add like a full legit facilitator with him, and then Kawhi Leonard, so good at scoring, so good at playing defense, and when if the knees and aspiration holds up, like they're going to be so good. Um, Vaj Subac, we talked about him. Their bench is also really good. Their bench is really good compared to last season. Chris Paul can come off the bench and facilitate. Chris Dunn, who's probably their best defender, I think, best one of
Mizzou.
their best. Um, it's coming off the bench for you, which is hell for opposing players. Bo Bogdanovich played really good for them last season as a shooter, and then Brooke Lopez adds such a fun little wrinkle to their team. And is like, they can stretch the floor now. They can play five out.
And Nicholas Batum can play in the 4th quarter. Uh,
Yes.
that's the key. Nicholas Batum can play in the 4th quarter. I really like what they have here and with the Clippers. Like they, you look at the in and out transaction. They were the 5 seed a year ago. Kawhi Leonard played like 30 games, I think, and maybe that is generous. Maybe it was more like 24. Um, Kawhi Leonard barely played last season. Uh, they add John Collins. They go Bradley Beal to Norman Powell, regardless of what you think of that. That's like not a huge difference either way, but you're not losing anything there that's significant. And yeah, they added depth, like you said, Brooke Lopez, Chris Paul. Like those are guys they need. Chris Paul was available. Bradley Beal is playing in a team that has the best medical, side of basketball in all of the NBA. So yeah, the Clippers. I'm in on the Clippers. I range them 2 through 7. The 7 is Kawhi Leonard, not very healthy, not very available, and the offense is a little stagnant. Maybe James Harden's a year older than we're seeing, and like I didn't even mention Ivica Zubac was literally almost an All NBA player last season. He was so good. Um, yeah, I mean, what do you?
Did you say 4 through 7, or did
Jeez,
you
what
even
did I say?
range them?
I said 2 through 7, I believe.
2 through 7. Wow.
That's what I meant to say.
I kept them at 4. I kept them at 4, but I also had seventh being the ceiling. Um, I'm just really confident in my top three being Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, in whatever order it may be. I think that I'm very confident in that. I'm super high on the Clippers, but I think 4 through 7 is the because like it could happen where the unk stuff is real and they aren't like 4 seed
Good.
caliber, but I still think that they'll be good enough that they'll be a 7 seed even if everything goes wrong.
Yeah, 100%. I could see them, the Rockets' ball handling could be a little bit of a concern, and that's why I could see them maybe sneaking over the Rockets in the regular season. And then the Nuggets just like might not be very good defensively, drop a couple stupid games because of their defense. But I do like feel very much more strongly about Houston and Denver than the Clippers. I think I had Clippers a little bit like I could see the high end for them uh being a little bit higher than the next two teams that I have, but I have them kind of in the same tier as the next two teams. At 5, who did you have at 5?
This is where I got the Timberwolves, Pat. I really like this Timberwolves team. I may not have it may have seemed like I was a little down in the tier rankings, but like this is a team that halfway through the season they got their shit together and they looked really really good. They're really good defensively. They got Ant leading them. They're looking pretty good depth wise as well. I think this team has all the makings to be that fifth seed, and I have them ranged 4 through 8. So I can potentially see them being better than the Clippers.
I have the Wolves as well at number 5. Um, the Wolves are it's like when you're in your fantasy football draft and you've made a balanced roster and you're like, "All right, I'm taking Mike Evans." You know, that's what the Wolves are. I think they're just gonna be very safe. I'm not sure if there's a very high ceiling or a low floor with Minnesota. I range them 4 through 6. I just kinda see them as a team that will avoid the play-in. I think they're going to be good enough defensively, even with Rudy Gobert potentially taking steps back play wise and just minutes played wise. And Anthony Edwards, I'm not sure how much higher the ceiling can go with him. If it goes higher, that's where you get that 4 seed. Potentially, you push into like a 3 seed. But I think Minnesota's just the 5 seed. I think they're safe, much safer than the teams I have a couple spots lower than them. And that's, I think, even more safe than the Clippers, but I think the high end range pushes the Clippers a little bit above Minnesota for me. So yeah, that's why I have Minnesota. Let's see if we have the same 6th seed.
Oh,
I
sorry. Lakers, Lakers, Lakers. I'm sorry, Pat. Sometimes when you throw that to me, it takes me a second to register. But yeah, I got the Lakers. Oh no, a little switch up. Nah, it's okay.
we've
That's
we finally got to switch up, or like we're I have the Lakers a couple spots lower. I ended up with the Warriors at 6. You give me the Lakers pitch.
yeah. Listen, Luca LeBron. There you go. Nah, I'm kidding. The reason I don't really have him that much higher is just because LeBron's gonna be missing a significant part of the season. But as much as I hate DeAndre Hayden, they have a center now. So I think that elevates their game a lot. Austin Reeves took a huge step last season. Rui Hachimura is a really solid uh, wing. Um, Gabe Vincent, hey, dropped 18 points in like 12 in like 9 minutes against the Mavs. I know it was preseason, but he shot pretty good. Like his season last year was a lot better than we've ever seen in a Lakers uniform. I think Marcus Smart's gonna be interesting coming off the bench. I think Connect's gonna have a bounce back season. People are hating on him a lot. I think he's gonna have a backup season, and I like Laravia and Jackson Hayes. Honestly, as a backup big. So I think this team is good enough to be that 6th seed. You have Luca. Luca is like incredible. Like and I think that the role players that they have around them are good enough to support Luca until LeBron comes back, and then they're a legit contender, which is why I rank them 3 through 6.
Ooh, let's go. Yeah, I will be fading the Dalton Connect stock. I've already sold it all. But I'll talk about the Lakers in a second. Yeah, I had Warriors at 6. I ranged them 4 through 10. I think there's a good chance like they drop some regular season games injury wise. Uh, that's really about it. Injury wise, they might not have it day to day, but I think their offense is like going to be an offense that nobody wants to play in the playoffs. Steph Curry's so awesome. Draymond Green is still such a prolific player. I think he's the big X factor where late in the season this past year he was like one of like the 30 best players in the league, and before that he was like a fringe top 100 player in the league. And I just think that's key. They were awesome when Jimmy Butler got there. I think some of that was strength of schedule. Some of that was the team was just so much better. And then we saw them in the first round beat a Rockets team that we didn't think was quite 2 seed caliber, but we did think was a good team and like a bad matchup for the Warriors. Um, and yeah, I have them facing the Rockets again in the first round with these predictions here. So that hopefully we'll get another Rockets Warriors playoff series. Is what my predictions are pointing out at least. And I can see the low end, like, Draymond, maybe he doesn't turn it on until the play in. That's kind of the low end, or Steph misses a couple games because he is 37, I think. He's old, man. He's in year 18, I think. Shout out to Steph. Awesome basketball player. Um, Number 7 seed, what did you have? You're muted.
Spurs, baby. I got my Spurs. San Antonio. Um, I think I think Wemby's transition or Wemby's season next season is going to be like one unlike we've ever seen. I kind of already alluded to it with the DPOY and MVP label I kind of gave him before we started the whole rankings thing. But I like and I love Stephon Castle. I think Devin Vassell provides them such a good shooting from the outside. Uh, Harrison Barnes too. He was really good for them. Really good shooter for them last season. Or did he play on the Kings last season? Did he play on the
No, it was Spurs, it was Spurs.
Okay, I don't know why I keep thinking he played on the Kings. I like Luke Cornett off the bench too. I like Kelly Olynyk coming off the bench. Carter Bryant, I think, is going to be really good defensively. Like I think he can go in there and guard some of the best wings in the league. And Dylan Harper, man. Hopefully they start Dylan Harper. I don't know if they put it out yet, but I think Dylan Harper and then you slide Vassell into that small forward position. It's going to be a nasty starting lineup, and I think Dylan Harper can do a lot of good things. And I rank them 5 through 7. I'm really high on them being 7. I don't think this is going to be a play-in team. Um, and I think the biggest swing here is shooting from their guards. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, they have De'Aaron Fox. I don't. He must be out for like a couple days or something to start the season. But
Yeah. He, picked up a hamstring midway
okay.
through the off season. I
Uh-huh.
also had the Spurs at 7.
Oh, okay.
Um, I think this is maybe, I thought I would be a little bit lower on the West because everybody talks about the depth of the West. I think the key is how many wins do you think this Spurs team is?
Like 40, 45.
Okay, yeah, okay,
Is that
so that's
crazy?
about where I thought as well.
Okay.
Okay, because when everybody talks about the depth of the West, I'm like, yeah, kind of, but I think this Spurs team is a team that like is very obviously a team that's going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. Like Wemby's going to give teams a scare, but I think it's kind of Wemby and a ton of not good. Like for transitive, if this was in the East, I think this is very close to what Milwaukee is. Um, is kinda how I see the Spurs. I think they're very close to similar playing tiers as Milwaukee, and they were your 7 seed. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll wait. Let's wait. Let's wait till
let's wait.
I'll wait for my spiel. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, my one concern about the Spurs proving me wrong here is Dylan Harper looks so good in the preseason. Like, he was good defensively in the preseason, and he was, like, a bad defensive prospect, and I still had him too in the class, but uh like if he's good defensively and he's looked so confident outside of Chris Paul, I don't think I've ever seen a Wemby, a playmaker next to Wemby as confident throwing difficult passes as Dylan Harper, and he just looked so much better than I expected him to in the regular season or in the preseason. And I think if it translates over to the regular season, they could be as good as a 5 seed. I ranged them 5 through 11. I think the 11 is like they're more middling. All of their wings are just not good. Like Carter Bryant's not good yet, and they like you mentioned the shooting concerns. I'm pretty sure this is a team that Wemby's holding up. When they trade De'Aaron Fox for a wing at the deadline, I will be all in on this team. Yeah, I like it though. I like it more than all of the other Midwest teams, and like mid as in quality wise, not Midwest. At 8, I had the Lakers. You had them at 6. I ranged them 5 through 11, just like the Spurs. Depth concerns are my main reason here. LeBron Luca fit. It's not perfect, but it's fine. DeAndre Ayton sucks. At least he has sucked the last 2 seasons. 1.5 free throw attempts a game. Let's go, DeAndre Ayton. Um, I'm just concerned about the defense. I'm concerned if Luca misses like a stretch of play. Like this is probably like a 40-win team. If you get like average Luca injury luck, this is probably a 40-win team. If not, like last season they racked up wins last year before Luca got there already, and they didn't have much Luca missed games time, and they're already getting LeBron missed games time. And like if LeBron needs more time to ease into the season than he did last year, like are we getting 2 months of good LeBron instead of 3 months? I'm a little bit more concerned. I think the defense is the main concern because Marcus Smart's guarding point of attack, DeAndre Ayton rim protecting. But I ranged them 5 through 8, like or 5 through 11. Like they could be a good team, I think. Uh, yeah, would you have at 8?
This is where I had the Warriors, Pat. Um, I got them ranged 5 through 9. I think this. We talked about like how good Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry were together, And I think now that they have Al Horford, that just really like helps like anchor everything down. Quinton Post was really good for them last year, and I think Al Horford is way better than Quinton Post, even this late in his career. And like the offense changed when they had a stretch big that could shoot it. Like even for Curry, it changed his offensive and like how he was able to play, and it really opened things up for them. And I think that is the thing that can happen without Horford. They also have guys coming off the bench that can shoot the ball like Buddy Hield. And you know, Buddy Hield first 2 weeks of the season is the best shooter that the world has
Ever
ever seen,
existed.
like ever seen. So yeah, so they get off to a hot start, I think, and maybe cool off a little bit. But yeah, I got 5 through 9.
Yeah, when Jimmy makes his Miami, when they make the trip to Miami mid-season, Jimmy Butler goes into Miami regular season Jimmy mode, and he's just like, I don't really know about that trying thing. Call me back in March. Um, I can see them coasting a little bit because all they need is the right first round matchup with Golden State, and then they'll just be they'll be rolling. I really like Golden State. 9 seed. Who'd you have?
I got the Mavs here. I got them ranked. I got them ranked 6 through 9 though, because I can see like a lot of things going right for them, like Cooper Flag just being incredible, which I think he will be incredible, but I think like there's like another level that he has to play for them to have like that 6 seed, because you're not gonna have Kyrie for a majority of the season, but I think once they do get Kyrie back, that pushes that's gonna they're gonna have a late season push as well. Like the defense, it's going to be hard to get shots up, like driving to the basket against this team. Like you have AD, Derek Lively, and Cooper Flag. AD and Lively are some of the best rim protectors in the league, and you add Flag, who is looking like he's going to add that to them. And then you have Najee Marshall, PJ Washington coming off the bench. A lot of good things there. And Max Christie also looked pretty good for them last season. And they only had to give up Luka Doncic for him, so nice.
Awesome, awesome transaction. Um, Also, by the way, you also had Warriors Rockets first round series. Let's go. I'm excited for 7 more games of that, especially now that the Kevin Durant wrinkle's been added to it. Even
Yeah.
with like Golden State almost trading for Kevin Durant last year too. It's absolute cinema if we get that. I had Mavericks at 9 as well. Here we go. We have the same top 9 teams, just in a different order. I had them ranked 6 through 11, so a couple spots in the lower range down. But yeah, I could see like a pretty good team here. Their defense would have to be the catalyst until Kyrie Irving comes back in mid March. Um, Cooper Flag, if he's awesome, like, yeah, maybe the range should be a little bit higher, but I'm kind of building in like Anthony Davis and Kyrie being healthy. Yeah, we'll see. I think they are a team that not many people want to see in the playoffs, but like, when we did the contenders rankings, we didn't have them super high in that. We had them as not real contenders for a good reason. Yeah, Blazers was my 10th seed. I ranged them 6 through 12. Who'd you have at 10?
I got the Kings at 10, and I got them 8 through 10. Uh, Kind of sums up where I'm going to have them, and that is in the play in. I think this team is a good enough uh, starting five where they're going to be able to compete in a lot of games in the regular season. The bench depth is something that you definitely have to worry about. But hey, you got one of the best bench players in the season last year with uh,
Russell
Russell
Westbrook.
Westbrook. Thank you. And then you also have Keegan Murray, who just signed a huge extension. Who's shit? He might be coming off the bench too, or if not, Malik Monk. So
If he does, I would like understand if he like committed some crazy crimes if he comes off the
yeah,
bench.
but no, Malik Monk's probably coming off the bench for them. I think, and we know the role that Malik Monk is able to do. And when De'Aaron Fox came out and he stepped in from that bench role to a starter role, he played really well. And coming off the bench, he's incredible. So I like them as a play-in team, and I think Levine's gonna have another good year, and DeRozan's gonna do his thing. So if all that happens, as we've seen in the past, that means play-in.
I'll explain my Kings pessimism in a couple of teams. I had Blazers at 10. I think with them, I see an easy pathway to like a top offense. Klingon is awesome defensively. They'll have Tumani Kamara, who is also awesome defensively, and Drew Holiday. What is he? Awesome defensively. I think they'll be a good defensive team. I've everything they're saying and everything that we have seen in preseason, Shaden Sharp looks better than he did a year ago. If he takes a step forward and is like not an all-star level player, but if he's like a Tyler Hero level player, I know Tyler Hero made an all-star game. I'm still not in on the Tyler Hero being that good side of things, but if he can be like what I think Tyler Hero is, like I think it's a pretty legit team. They're going to be a defensive first team that their offense is respectable enough, and they'll be a tough regular season team. And I think Chauncey like has improved as a coach, benching DeAndre Ayton last year got brownie points from me. Let's go, Chauncey. I'm all the way in now. And like Anthony Simons and DA were just not good for them last year, like quite frankly, and they don't have to deal with that anymore. And they're seeming less entitled to getting a ton out of Jeremy Grant. And oh well, I didn't even mention their best player, Denny Afdia, yet, who is also just a great two-way player. So I'm high on Portland, I guess. Did you have them at 11 by chance?
I did have them at 11, Pat, and I'm gonna range them 11 through 8. Uh, I mean, you did just cover pretty much everything on Portland. But yeah, I also think not only they're gonna be really good offensively, I think they have some good defensive aspects as well. Tumani Kamara, uh, so solid, man, so solid. I'm really high on Tamani Kamara. And then coming off the bench, like Young Hassan, he's going to be probably everyone's fan favorite rookie. Maybe that he might win. He might win Rookie of the Year if it was fan voted. Um, but also Robert Williams is going to be able to play some decent minutes, hopefully. Chris Murray, hey, if he's anything like Keegan, that means he can shoot the lights out, and I think he'll be able to do a decent enough job. And yeah, Denny, Klingon, and Drew, they're going to play pretty good for them, and Shaden Sharp as well. So
Yeah, they're just gonna have enough on offense is the argument for Portland. At 11, I had the Grizzlies. I ranged them 6 through 12 as well. My concerns with the Grizzlies are what is their offense going to be like without Bane there? I think he was sneakily like way more important than people have let on for their offense. His movement shooting provides so much space. Uh, it allows John Morant to get to the rim a lot easier. They also, they have a ton of injuries going into the year already, which, the Grizzlies having that is, we call it the Memphis Grizzlies season for a reason. Like John Morant, Ty Jerome already day to day. Scottie Pippen Jr. won't be here until January, which stinks. Brandon Clark is out till, and Zach Edey are both out till November. So, front court depth is already going to be thin to start the year. You can't be down good players already in the West. I'm gonna fade you from that for that reason, and maybe there's for that reason I'm gonna bump their high end range down from 6 to 12. I think I'm gonna put them at like eight, 8 to 14 is probably the range I'll put them at. I do think when things are clicking for them, it can be a little bit better. But yeah, Grizzlies 8 to 14. I'm putting them at 11 or 8 to 13 or 14. There we go. Who's your 11?
12.
12. You're right.
Yeah, that's where I had the Grizzlies. You kind of mentioned it. I'm a little worried offensively. Uh, yeah, I'm very worried offensively because like the guy you replaced with your elite shooter was KCP, who really struggled last season. And even when if he is right, he's not going to be the same level. Jalen Wells is a really good 3-point shooter and defender. But then you're going to have like your starting center is going to be Jack Landale for a majority of the season. I love Jock Landale, but he was like the third big for the Rockets last season. He was the third. And then their bench is just really lacking. Unless GG Jackson is able to do what he did in his rookie season or his sophomore season, like Cam Spencer's probably gonna like be able to shoot some threes, but I don't expect them to have like a huge like be able to carry a huge role offensively. So I'm just worried about this team. I got him ranked 8 through 13. Uh, yeah, not expecting a big season in Memphis, and interesting things might happen.
Ooh, alrighty. At 12, this is where I had the Kings. I'll go ahead and explain my pessimism on them. Um, I can see like I can see the upside. I had them 10 through 14. My concern is all of their players, specifically the Westbrook signing, like did nothing for me because the lineups that you need to play Westbrook in are the same ones you need to play Schroeder in, but you can't play them together in those lineups. Um, Keegan Murray missing the year is like really rough for them because he's like actually their only four. Um, and that's like really like DeMar DeRozan at the four is worse than you know Chris Middleton at the four. And we had the Wizards last. I think there's also a chance that there could be like huge midseason turnover with them. Not all of it would be terrible if they traded DeRozan for like real basketball players. Then this could be a pretty good team. But yeah, I'm just not there. Like there's so much non-shooters and I just don't see the path of them even really being like respectable on defense anymore. Like that was something I could see last year, but I don't think they could even be like a respectable defense at this point. Like Levine is not very good defensively. Neither is DeRozan. They're not going to have Keegan Murray to start the season. They're going to be really small, and it's just like you're asking Dennis Schroeder to carry a defense or Domantas Sabonis' rebounding to be the only good part about a defense. It's really, really, really rough to me. The 13 team for me was the Phoenix Suns. I think it's your 13 as well.
It's not.
Oh,
It's the
is it
Pelicans.
Pelicans?
Pelicans. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna drink some of the Kool-Aid that they got down there in New Orleans.
And put them
Like,
as the 13th seed.
huh?
And put them as the 13th seed.
And I'll put them as the 13th seed. Yeah. I'll rank them 13 through 8 though, because like, or 13 through 7, because if Zion plays over like half the games, like they could legitimately be a pretty good team, maybe just because like that's how good of Zion player is. But I don't think. I think realistically, like 13 through 10, like this team could be a playing team. Um, Trey Murphy's still incredible. Like Trey Murphy is one of my favorite players on the team, and that's with Jordan Poole coming over. I don't know like how Jordan Poole. I think Jordan Poole can be good offensively. I don't think he's going to be able to give you anything defensively, and I don't know if the numbers are going to be as good as they were in Washington, because in Washington he was able to have a lot more freedom. Well, honestly, on this, well, yeah, I think Zion Williamson would demand more of the ball, and then coming off the bench, it's a little rough. It's very rough. It's kind of like a G League type roster coming off the bench. There's not a lot of yeah, it's rough. It's going to be a couple years till they figure things out here. And De'Aaron Fox is out, or Dejounte Murray is out for a while, or he's out for a good bit, right? Coming off that
Like three
Achilles.
months. It'll be
Yeah.
3 months at least.
So it's rough. It's rough there in New Orleans. We'll see how Derek Queen does. Hopefully, good. They gave him all. They better be damn good for them after what they traded for. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I had New Orleans at 14. I ranged them just like you. I ranged them 7 through 14, just one spot lower on the low end because I had them at 14. Yeah, like if Zion's there, I could see them having like an actually like really good offense if like literally like so many things go right for them. I could see them having like a top 5 offense. I can see the defense getting to 25th. Like Herb Jones is doing way too much on that end of the floor for you, and he's been a guy who's had some availability issues. Yeah, you mentioned all the stuff. Like there's so much that has to go right for New Orleans. They are going to be giving a top like 6 pick to Atlanta. Let's go, Joe Dumars. 13 I had Suns. You had them at 14, right?
Yep, I had him at 14. This is just a really funky roster. Devin Booker's going to have to carry offensively because I really don't know where else the scoring is going to come from. Like, Dylan Brooks can only get so many catch and shoot wide open threes in a game, along with Ryan Dunn. as well. Mark Williams, probably one of the most unhealthy centers in the league.
Hold
Um,
up. That is nightmare corner spacing. Dylan Brooks
I
and Mark
know. I
Williams.
mean, and then
Oh,
Grayson Allen's the next guy, and he's a kind of streaky shooter, probably more reliable though, more consistent, like percentage wise. But yeah, like the floor spacing is those green windows are very small when they're shooting their jumpers. And then if Mark Williams doesn't play, you're gonna have Malawach and Richards split minutes. You kind of talked about how you don't know how like good Nick Richards is even when he's healthy, and Malawach isn't gonna be able to go out there for a long time, but hopefully they'll be able to like split minutes. I got him ranked 14 through 11. Man, I just can't really see him doing a playoff this season. Their bench is kind of non-existent, like but outside of Royce O'Neal, and I love Jordan Goodwin. So they cut Jared Butler after he dropped 35 points, which is crazy. Um, Jordan Goodwin must have been better defensively. So yeah, but yeah, it's going to be a rough season for the Suns once again.
jeez. No, yeah, you mentioned it. Out of pity, not pity, out of spite, I'm going to be moving them down to 14 and moving the Pelicans a spot up because they cut our GOAT, Jared Butler. Like, what's
After he
going
dropped
on?
35, come on.
Like, oh gosh, dude, why did we cut Jared Butler? He's better than your starting point guard, Jalen Green. Um, but yeah, like you mentioned the spacing. It's going to be so like Dylan Brooks shot the ball well percentage wise last season, but he can get trigger happy. He has his intrusive thoughts to hold on to the ball for
His
an extra
his
second.
demons that talk to him.
Yeah, hold on to the ball for an extra second to get contested and then shoot a step back is what goes on in his head sometimes. Kind of disappeared with Ime as the head coach. We'll see if that happens here in Phoenix. Jalen Green's like sneakily a really like bad shooter so far in his NBA career for somebody who shoots as much as he does. Like he shot a career high 34% this season. Uh, that's pretty rough. And then like the spacing is going to be terrible around Buck. I'm really not sure what the center rotation is going to be. Probably not great. Mark Williams' injury concerns, Malawach conditioning concerns. Is he going to be ready yet? Are his hands even good enough yet at the NBA level? I think he'll be good in the long term, just probably not right away, like we said. Yeah, the depth's rough. If they would have, cut Jalen Green instead of Jared Butler, they still wouldn't be a good team. But yeah, so rough. And then Jazz, I had them ranged 15.
Yeah, not looking good for the Jazz, man. AJ Debaine's third bust, pretty much. I think for them. Hopefully Bailey has a good season.
Yeah, we'll see about Big Ace. He was my inverse Colin Murray Boyles. I moved Ace down a good bit after doing the write ups. Um, yeah. Did you have them as anything but 15th? Yeah, I did too. I was like, there's no way they even get 14th. Okay, so we are geez, that's not the oh yeah, we're not sharing anything. That's why. Um I will quickly go back to the PowerPoint. We just got a couple more things. We'll fly through these. NBA player superlatives. We'll just give quick answers to these. Um, Biggest X factor for the entire NBA this season. If you don't have an answer for any of these two, you don't have to answer them. My answer is Lonzo Ball. I think he's going to bring a great element to Cleveland this season. I think he's going to help them offensively and defensively. He's going to be big when Garland's not playing at the start of the season. He's not going to play back to backs. He's my six man on the year pick if there was no 65 game threshold. I really think Lonzo Ball is an X factor for the entire NBA. Yeah. Um, which one of these do you have a good answer for that you want to throw
I mean,
out there?
I'll follow you up. I think Chris Porzingis is the biggest X factor,
Yeah.
especially for the Hawks. I mean, he's a guy that could take him from a 3 seed and put him at potentially like a 5 or 6 seed, and that would then like unfavorable matchups from there. But if he's healthy, this is a legit Hawks team, especially in the playoffs. They're going to need him. Like it's going to be so important that they have him.
All right. I have a fraud watch player. I don't know if you have a guy here, but my fraud watch player is Paolo Banchero.
Oh,
Paolo, you were a number 1 pick. Everybody's giving you credit for your defense carrying your team to the playoffs each of the past 2 years. I've been keeping tabs on it. Most of the fans have been giving you all the credit. Not even the best player on your team. Let's prove it this season, Paolo. I want to believe in it, and I want Paolo to prove me wrong and that he is a top 10 player in the league. But Paolo, God, this has got to be the year, man. Week East, have a very good season. Be actually good and make your offense better because they've been one of the worst offenses in the leagues last year, and he's carried a horrible offense. He's not carrying anything. Let's prove it, Paolo. Let's go. Um, I'll give you did you have a fraud watch player or any of these else?
yeah, I got a fraud watch player. It's an interesting one. Um, I got Walker Kessler as my fraud watch player.
Oh, I
Uh,
like it actually.
I don't think he's gonna be doing much but getting boards, and it's gonna be pretty like empty boards. I honestly don't think he's the best big man. Like I think Filipowski like sneakily takes over his role slash ends up getting him traded out by the deadline. Uh, I think I think Walker we mentioned in the Jazz episode when we did it, he had a really bad like off on numbers. Like he wasn't.
He didn't even impact their defense.
Yeah,
His
exactly. He's just kind of like a big guy standing there, putting hands up, getting boards. Not really that like effective or impactful on offense. And people talk about it as probably one of the best like
young
big
bigs.
yeah, and one of the best big on the trademark out there. Bigs on the trademark out there. Market out there. Jeez. I don't know why that's such a tongue twister. So he's my fraud watch player this season.
Yeah, let's like actually see it. I 100% agree. I have one more of these that I have a great name for, and it's the one-time All-Star. Um, my one-time All-Star, and for any of you know, this is not like first-time All-Star. This is somebody who will make the All-Star game this season, and it will be the only All-Star game of their career. My one-time All-Star is Jalen Duren because we predicted the Pistons to be pretty decent. I think Jalen Duren is going to put up points, and they're going to be like, well, the Pistons are decent. They need a second All-Star. And the second All-Star that they should have is Asar Thompson. But Asar Thompson's going to average 14 points, and they're not going to give him an All-Star nod. And Jalen Duren might be like the fourth best or the fifth best center in the East or something. I don't know. And he ends up getting like the benefit of the doubt because the Pistons are a pretty decent team and nobody wants to give Asar Thompson the nod. That's why Jalen Duren's my one-time All-Star. Did you have any other great answers that you wanted to share on any of these?
I have an interesting one for one time All Star. I don't know. I don't know if this is a good pick, but this is the guy. This is the name I landed on. Um, AJ Green, Pat. AJ Green is my
Oh,
All
let's
Star.
go.
I think this is only like the Bucks are they're lacking a lot of depth at the guard position. AJ Green is a dude that literally shoots the lights out and only really shoots threes. Shot 5 of them a game. He could just go out there and chuck up like 9 a game with all the attention going to uh to Giannis Antetokounmpo like at the paint. I think that he's gonna have a lot of kick out opportunities, and he can have like a Tyler Hero type of like all star propaganda behind him. I think just like from straight scoring numbers. And maybe he drops like 15, 17 in the first half, mainly off of shooting threes. So that's who I got.
I kind of love it because a lot of the guards are like already like Tyler Hero is already gonna miss time. LaMelo Ball never plays enough games. Darius Garland's missing time to start the year, and like AJ Green, like I was looking, I was like, he might be their like third leading scorer behind Giannis and like I guess KPJ. And I think they're gonna really I think he's good. Like he's one of their good players. So I kind of like it. Um I didn't really have anything else that I really liked for any of these other ones. Uh we will give out these awards at the end of the season. Like, oh, we will give out who the biggest X factor was. We were just making our predictions for them. We'll move forward next um, to the team superlatives. The biggest fraud playoff team, the fraud watch coach, the 2025 Pistons of this season, the if only you were in the East team, and then the no shame tank job, the playoff demons, or the play-in demons, the worst contract signed during this transaction cycle. Um, yeah, for those who are here, Sheldon has been booted off. Let's see. Yeah, I can put it back in. All right, you should be able to join back. Um,
Yeah, I don't know
all
what
right.
happened.
Yeah, I don't either. Do you have any answers that you want to do for this section here?
Uh, yeah, I'll go with the 2025 Pistons. I think the Spurs can be the 2025 Pistons, and I think they can have even more playoff success than the 2025 Pistons and actually win a couple of playoff games. I mean, I already talked about it. I think Wemby is going to be incredible. I think Dylan Harper is going to be able to play really good basketball. Add in De'Aaron Fox and all the other pieces that they have. They have guys that can come off the bench and score, and they can play defense. And I don't think any team really would like to see the Spurs. And they can match up pretty well against some of the teams in the West. So
I like it. I think that's the best answer for that one. I have a great answer for the play-in demons. It's the Warriors, man. Like nobody is going to like to see the Golden State Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. I think they're just the easy answer here. I think it's very obvious that like they will be a team that might take the foot off the gas in the regular season, and come playoff time, try to figure out how to guard Steph Curry. Somebody try to figure it out because no one has really figured out how to do it just yet. You just got to hope he misses shots or you don't leave his teammates wide open because you are so preoccupied with Steph Curry. I think they're the playing demons answer. Um, yeah, let's see. Do we have any other great ones here that we want to turn to?
I think if you were only in the East, it's like the perfect one for the Mavs. No, the
Ooh,
Mavericks. Like if they were in the East, like they'd
they
probably be a top five seed.
they kind of are the Magic. Like if you
Yeah,
think about
like
it.
especially once they get Kyrie, like this, I think this would be like a gross team in the East. I think I just seen that title just immediately made me think of the Mavs. So I think like they would kill like any of this other injury riddled teams.
Yeah, I mean, they have a Duke who just went first overall, who's a defensive demon and has on-ball skills. And they're going to be a defense first team. Yeah, I think they are the if only you were in the East team. The no shame tank job. I think if Tatum doesn't come back, it's going to be the Celtics, and they're going to fake Jalen Brown, Derek White injuries, which they should, by the way. They should do it, not for the integrity of the game, but for the team building strategy wise. That's what the Celtics should do. They should be a no shame tank job team if Tatum's not going to come back. Other than that, like the Jazz are a lock to be a no shame tank team. Like I see no way that they're not a no shame tank team. Um, biggest playoff fraud watch team.
You go first, Pat. You go first.
So everybody wants you to say, Cleveland at this point because that's what they've been so far. They've been playoff frauds. I think in this like year, it's going to be hard for them to be frauds. I kind of think my answer is Atlanta. I think we're going to get to the playoffs. People are going to see, oh my God, Trey Young is like the worst guard defender of all time. Porzingis can't stay healthy and like has some weird limitations to his game where he's not strong. He can't guard a lot of bigs weirdly because uh, any like skilled and strong big are just going to overpower him. Even though he does have great rim protection chops still, like Porzingis will struggle on one-on-one defense with bigs at times. And I think that is why Atlanta is my fraud watch playoff team. And like it has to be a good team that we're picking for this. Like we can't pick the Kings to be the fraud watch playoff team because they're not going to make the playoffs. So Yeah, did you have another answer for this?
Yeah, I'll go Lakers, Pat. I don't know why, but I'm feeling the Lakers. We kind of saw them collapse a little bit in the last season. I think something like that could happen again. I don't know how like confident I am in this pick, but I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, I think so too. Are there any other of these superlatives that you have a great prediction for?
I mean, my fraud watch coach was Billy Donovan. I don't know. But like the Bulls are their ass. So like, or not they're not ass, but they're not going to be that good this season. So, but I don't know, man. It's just like the Bulls haven't been anything, even when he had Levine and DeRozan, and I mean maybe those. I mean, obviously those two guys like they are very hard to match together. But I think that maybe there's been a little too many excuses for Billy Donovan, and while he was a great coach in the past, maybe the modern NBA might be a little too much for him.
I think the unfortunate answer for me here is Mike Brown. Rough
Wow.
couple years in Sacramento. Um, this is your time to really prove that you're a great coach. I think Matt Barnes had the quote where like Mike Brown's first year everywhere is usually really good, and then the players learn that like we can do this and we can do that, and then the team doesn't have the camaraderie that it needs to have, and they always underachieve come playoff time, and like this is by far the best like most well balanced roster Mike Brown's ever had. Obviously, he had the LeBron teams, but like it was very obvious the way those LeBron teams needed to play. So now that Mike Brown, like he has a very good roster. I think like this is where he needs to prove that he's a good strategist and he's a good head coach in the NBA. I think this is the time to do it. Like you have two guys who we brought up as MVP horses this past season or for this upcoming season. Like Mike Brown, let's do it, man. Like win 60 games this year. We need to see it. Um, rookie extensions for today. Maybe one of those came up. Do you have any worst contract signed?
I really I really struggle to find one. I guess the Jordan Clarkson one, but like it wasn't for a lot of money. All the bad contract
Yeah.
ones were like they weren't for a lot of money. So, or at least the ones that I found. Did you have any?
I consider De'Aaron Fox because it'll open up such an opportunity cost, and maybe Dylan Harper is so good right away. It's like, oh my God, we can't start Dylan Harper next to Fox, and now we just have a 30% cap hit for De'Aaron Fox for the next 3 years. I also do think that like if Toronto's decent at the deadline and Emmanuel Quickly is like clearly not a starting point guard, they might be able to just trade Fox for Brandon Ingram and get out of some of the roster building concerns. And I think that would actually help uh, San Antonio a little bit as well. Yeah, I De'Aaron Fox was one that I thought of. Um, Jonathan Kuminga is not long enough for it to really be a bad contract, but I don't. He was really bad last year. Like he was really bad. Um, yeah, those would be my considerations. Do you have anything else on any of these superlatives that you want to make a prediction for?
Oh no, I'm good. I think I said all the ones I wanted to say. I think only one I didn't get was the no Shea tank job, and I agreed with both of your picks on that and the play in demon. So
Yeah, 100%. Um, Here, this is to make sure I did the standings and contenders tier list. All NBA teams, I was going to do that on a tier list, but we're pushing into 3 hours here, so uh, we're gonna maybe do all NBA. Maybe live tomorrow. I'll do all NBA predictions. I don't know. Going to be watching Thunder Rockets right here tomorrow. That's going to be sick. Um, I think Thunder Rockets is like we both predicted them to be top three teams in the West. You predicted Rockets to win the West or to be the regular season West team, and I predicted the Thunder. So like this is going to be a great regular season matchup for opening night. We're looking forward to that. We'll probably move away from a full length podcast for at least a week or so. Um, Warriors will actually be coming out later this week. It hasn't come out yet. We wanted to do this live, so let's go. And then that'll be coming out, and we will do weekly podcasts still during the season. The first podcast will, and they'll also be live here on playback. That will be going up on YouTube and Spotify like they normally have. And first one, I think we're gonna do best NBA quotes. So that should be
Nice.
really awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Maybe
Uh,
add a Tim Hardaway. Maybe I'll add my
oh,
favorite. Oh, not my favorite, not my favorite.
yeah, I don't know. Uh, yeah. So there's some Tim Hardaway quotes for sure. There's some Michael Porter Jr. quotes. They're not all gonna be controversial quotes. They're gonna be some funny quotes as well. But yeah, that's what we're looking forward to. Yeah,